Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. Good morning, K-Man. Happy hump day. How are you guys doing? I can't believe it's Wednesday already. Is there anybody else that feels like, gosh, this week in particular is going by very, very quickly? I don't know. I'm losing some days during the week, I tell you what. But anyway, we're here for it. You guys know every morning, Monday to Friday, you can find us here, of course. I'm sending the links out to the WhatsApp channel. So make sure you join the channel. Super easy to do. That's the best way to get all of your notifications. And so we will be having the Deputy Premier, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, joining us this morning about his decision ahead of nomination day and the 2025 general election to rejoin the PPM after 10 years of a contentious relationship. Wowee. That's going to be something interesting. So he's going to join us about, what time is it now? About 8 o'clock. Hi, what a mess. That's all I can tell you. What a mess. Okie dokie. So we are getting all lined up for that. And of course, we watch a lot of things around the world in terms of news. There's Anguilla, I think, is having an election today. I think it's them. So we'll be keeping an eye on them as well. Lots happening in the United States of America. There is not a dull moment, I can tell you, in the US of A anymore. The latest fiasco that is raising a lot of eyebrows is apparently President Trump. Well, President Trump has indicated that he will handpick the press corps. So just to give you a little bit of background information on the press corps, these are individuals that make up the press and the Associated Press. There's actually an organization called, let me get the correct name for you guys. It's called the White House Correspondents Association. And for the past 100 years, at least, they have overseen the rotating group of news outlets who cover the president in DC and on his travels. So he has now decided that his organization is going to take over that function and that he's going to do it himself. What a mess. So what that means is he will handpick who gets to follow him around, I suppose, Washington and abroad. This is really quite shocking, to be honest, because as it comes to democracy in the US, and I actually heard someone recently, I thought was interesting, talk about how they have moving forward. Oops, my apologies. How they have, they were part of the Clinton administration way back in the day, and they were talking about the important freedoms that come with the press having access to the president And then all of the elements of that in terms of asking questions. He might not like the questions, but at least they're there. So for him to change this well-established practice of trying to make it as fair and balanced, there are journalists that come from all over that are part of this, is really, really quite concerning. So I don't know how this is going to play out. We'll have to sort of wait and see. I can tell you that we subscribe to several different organizations and other media out of the US that their sole job is to ensure freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And they work very, very hard to ensure that, my apologies, the tea is extra hot this morning, honey chow. They work very, very hard to ensure that that is done and it's covered. And as soon as President Trump was elected and got into office, I remember them sending out a message that I thought was kind of shocking when they said that we have concerns, and this is an NPO now, right? And they said, we now have concerns about media freedoms in the United States of America, which is something that Americans are known for fiercely protecting. Oops, there we go. Americans are known for fiercely protecting over the years. So I kind of, like, when I saw that message come out, like literally the day he was elected, they were like, media, be on the alert, because this man has a reputation for trying to silence the media, trying to spin his own narrative. He claims that, the media is anti-Donald Trump. And so he's going to use his own non-traditional sources for media and all that sort of thing. And so it was kind of interesting to see that alert go out and kind of put all media houses around the world on alert that they felt like their freedoms were about to be deteriorated. So I thought, initially I was kind of wondering if it was an overreaction of some sort. And now we see this sort of a move of breaking what we know has been a longstanding tradition and sort of policy, really, if you will, where the White House has allowed people access. I don't know what to make of it. It's an unfortunate day for democracy, really. And we'll have to see, how this works out, because there's a saying, and those of us who are in the world of media know it all too well, that the press is like the fourth arm of government, because we help to keep them accountable by, digging into things that they claim is going on. They'll make statements from the press secretary that is not always true. So we have to constantly keep an eye on those things. So, I mean, I don't know what to make of it, and I don't know what you guys think of it either. I guess we're in for an interesting 4 years. And that's probably the most that I can say about the situation at this time. Very, very interesting nonetheless. All right, good morning to Miss Jean. Marshall is here. Jessica, good morning to you. Abby, buenos dias. Judy Ann in the house. Thank you, Miss Judy Ann. We've got Irvlyn here. Barbara, so good to see you. Barbara G. Gina, Miss Mary Parchment is also here. Olivia, Patricia Blake. Hey, Mr. George Fullerton. Good old George went to law school with me back in the day. Yes, I remember him being down in his books. And it was interesting because he had a son. I don't know how old your son would have been, George, but I think he was relatively young. And his son was dealing with a cancer diagnosis, as I recall. And I always admired George because he still showed up. He was working for the RCIPS at the time, and he still showed up to class. And you graduated with my group, right, George? I think you were in the same class, same graduation class. Damaris is here. Johan is in the house. Marshall, good morning. Paul, how you doing, honey? Chow, joining us from Bermuda. Wee Akil, good morning to you. Leroy is here. Raymond, good morning, Raymond. He says, boy, how it looking, new motto, call no names, get no blame. Akil from North Carolina. Nice. What's the weather like there right now? Are you guys still having snow and cold weather? Miss Lucille joining us in the UK, and Luis is here as well. Good morning. Buenos dias. Lots more. Read after the show. You should put that before the message, because sometimes I start to read and then I see messages like, oh, that's not for the show. So always put that message first if you WhatsApp me something and it's not actually not meant to go on the show, because I always assume that during showtime, y'all are messaging me about these things. But yes, okay. Good thing I saw that part first. All righty. So it is interesting times ahead, for sure. And that means that it's interesting times ahead for all of us. Good morning, Janelle. Inspiring. Says, I'm here with my ginger and fever grass tea. Nice. I haven't had fever grass tea, I feel like, in a really long time. Instagram folks, good morning to you. How is everybody else doing over there? Looking good. Still a bit chilly, says Jim in North Carolina, 40 degrees, missing the warmth. Ooh, brr. I love a little chilly weather now and again, though, I must admit. Not freezing temperatures, but 40 degrees can be kind of nice. If it's like 40 in the sun, I don't mind it. All right, so yesterday was an interesting day. A lot of you, hey Stanley, how you doing? A lot of you were sending me some videos, so let's talk about this now, because I obviously got some video footage yesterday of some people, and the first person who sent it to me, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first glanced at the video that they sent, I'm like, okay, whatever. There's some people out there doing calisthenics. Like, what are they doing? What's the big deal? And you guys were like, no, Miss Sandy, you got to look at it again. I was like, okay. I saw some men dancing, and I wasn't zooming in and trying to look at their little shorty shorts and whatever. And you guys were like, no. Here's the video. Looks like they were maybe doing a like a viral video or something. You see the one guy recording and they're doing a little dance. I don't know if they're doing, somebody said they might be doing YMCA or something. I don't know what they're doing. But you know, people do these things all the time. Like they go on vacation, they want to do a group viral video. And there was somebody's like, well, they're half naked. And I was like, okay, let me take a little bit of a closer look. Half naked? Yeah, I mean, I see at least 4 of them with shirts on and what looks like shorts. To me, that's not half naked. I guess the other ones are wearing bikini trunks. And again, you know, I've seen people walking in town, literally, especially women, wearing close to nothing. And so I'm not out here oogling them and looking at what they have on and this sort of thing. And the person kept insisting that I needed to have a closer look because obviously it's them, implying that these were gay people out here dancing. And I think y'all really need to get a hold of yourselves, because if you think this is your biggest worry in the world, my God, y'all don't have a clue. But anyway, that they were out here dancing. And what if my children saw this? Well, you know what? I thought about it for a second. And I can tell you that if my daughter saw this, she'd just be like, Mom, why are people dancing on the beach? She's not going to make any assumptions about their sexuality because we don't force any preconceived things on her. So she's not going to look at a bunch of men dancing and automatically conclude that they're gay or that they're not gay or anything of the sort. She would probably just question, why are people dancing? Like, what are they doing? Is this a TikTok video, right? Which is what most young people would probably conclude. It's us as adults who force our viewpoints on them and who would point out to them that, oh, well, these people look like they're flaming, kind of an attitude. So the conversation continued with this person, and then they're like, well, they're tourists. And I'm like, so if they were Caymanians, would you have less or more of an issue with it? Like, I'm just lost here. You know, it's so crazy that people will say anything to justify their own perspective and their own prejudices. Most are in briefs. I'm like, those are swim trunks. And I have seen, again, I'm not zooming in to see if I can see their little willy-nillys or whatever. You know, I have seen people wearing far worse than that, women in particular, with these G-string things and their bonkies walk around town that I thought was definitely inappropriate, and nobody not stopping them no more to say one word to them. And the funny thing is, I then said to this particular individual, because she's an advocate of Cayman introducing strip clubs. So I said, but why would you be bothered by this? Aren't you the same person who says Cayman needs to have strip clubs? Well, that's inside. Okay. And these people are doing what exactly? So it looks like it was probably a gay cruise ship. I don't know if this was, I mean, my gosh, if they only had that many people, it probably wasn't a successful cruise. Or if a bunch of, you know, gay men just decided to go on a cruise together as part of a larger cruise ship. I don't honestly care. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I don't care. I'm not getting in their business. It doesn't really matter to me. I saw them dancing. Somebody's like, well, if you look closer, one of them like kissed the other one. I'm like, really? Y'all got time for this? I'm not a huge person when it comes to PDA, public displays of affection in public, from anybody. I don't want to see that from straight people, gay people, I don't know people. You know, it doesn't really matter. I just want them to try to, you know, in public, keep it demure, okay, for everybody. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that we can just overreact to some things. So there they are. And this is close by where the fish people are. This is that beach, actually, that's in question, I guess, that Chris Johnson is going to tap the government in the head over. So, yeah, y'all had time to be. So this is where now that y'all are saying that two of them are kissing or whatever. All right. They're recording a video. All right. Yeah, okay. Is this going to fix your cost of living in Cayman? Is this going to fix your housing crises? Is this going to fix you help get a job? Is this going to help you with an education of your children? You know, it's just like, I don't want my children to see that. Well, I'm willing to bet that in their lifetime, their children are going to see far worse than this if they have any degree of exposure at all. I'm just saying. Wow. I don't know. So that was preoccupying a lot of people yesterday. Hannah says, big deal. KMass has half naked people every year, and no one complains about that. Not only half naked people, but they also have people in the past, because we posted it on our platform, winding up on children and sexualizing children, which is a much bigger issue in my mind than anything that you saw there yesterday. And it's so interesting how, you know, oh, it's highly inappropriate and to be doing this in public. Once again, when you look at the carnivals that we have and the drinking and the humping and grinding up and whatever, y'all see nothing wrong with that, because that's part of the adopted Cayman culture. So that seems to be okay. This is just straight up prejudiceness. This is about, you guys are prejudiced against that community. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter what they were doing. Once you recognize that they are who they are, you're going to have a problem. I don't even know, you know, I just, some days I'm at a loss for the things that we choose to hyper focus on. All right, Hannah, good morning. Good morning, Robert. Dee Dee's here. John LaRue says, I think many of your listeners have nothing better to do but to assume there's always wrongdoing. Not just my listeners, but people in general, John, tend to get fixated around things that they are, that they have a strong feeling or opinion about. And I know, unfortunately, that a lot of Caymanians do. And you know what I always find very, very bizarre and strange is that most of us have members of her families that fall into the LGBTQ plus community. I know this for a fact. I mean, I've got cousins and stuff that are gay, and it's weird because you guys seem to accept them on the one hand, but I don't know, you want to dictate what they do from what they don't do in life. It's just very, very bizarre. I mean, raise your hand in class if any of you can think of at least one family member, and probably more, that is a member of that community. I can think of, gosh, I got one male cousin, one female cousin, another cousin that I have a big question mark over. Some of them over the years have been much more comfortable in, being open and saying, yes, this is who I am. And I think we all know them. And, I've got acquaintances and other people that I know. Some politicians are not going to admit to it, but they're on the down low with it as well. But they're singing up in church choirs. Those are the people that I don't respect, because at least be who you are. Don't marry people for 40 something years and pretend like you're something that you're not. What a hot mess. I met a man many, many years ago in Cayman Brac. I took a little solo trip to the Brac. And this is when I was single and I had my little dog, Coco. And I took her to the Brac. It was an interesting trip, except Cayman Airways pissed me off coming back with her, wanting to put her in the cargo hole on that little plane. And I was like, oh, no, you don't. Me and you have a problem here today. But anyway, let me not digress. And I was staying at a little apartment. There's a guy managing it. And it was obvious that he was gay. And I was talking to him and he said, miss, I lived as a quote unquote straight man for many, many years. I did what the community expected of me. I got married. He was married for like a really long time. I can't remember exactly how long. But he talked about the fact that he got married and he had kids. I think he had a daughter at least. And he said, yeah, he did what other people wanted him to do. And then one day he woke up and realized that he was not happy. He was living a lie and he was no longer going to live that life. And after like 25 years or something, he left his wife, came out in a big way and just wanted to be who he wanted to be. And I said, bless your little heart for honesty. And so I said, wow. I said, well, I know it's not easy in Cayman to be who you are, whether it is in reference to that or anything else, because we tend to be very, very judgmental about who people are. And, I'm of the firm opinion that people don't have a choice in this matter. They are who they are and they love who they love. And as long as, I have some very simple rules, as long as it doesn't involve children, animals, which those are both illegal, or non-consenting adults, I honestly don't care what you do in the privacy of your home. That's not my business. Okay? I got more important things to think about. And it's certainly not who you rolling in the hay with. But I'm well aware of the closely held prejudices that we have as a community. And I grew up in a traditional Christian household. But the weird thing about it is I don't ever remember, and maybe it was just different times then, I don't ever remember Aunt Lottie saying anything negative. I can't think if my cousin may have, because my cousin he's 10 years older than me, Cousin William. So I can't really recall if Cousin William would have ever had anything negative to say about a member of that community. But I don't recall her ever saying anything about gay people. So I grew up in an environment that was very, very strict, very probably what you consider relatively fundamental Christian. And yet there was not this hate that was circulated or espoused about anybody, including gay people. And so I don't remember the hate as a child. I haven't ever been exposed to it. And so when I went off to university, for example, and, young person, you get to see all sorts of different cultures and people and all sorts of stuff. I don't actually, again, I didn't have any sort of preconceived notions about people. I was very, very interested in getting to know people for who they were. So I met a lot of cultures, then, people from Malaysia, all over the globe. There's this guy from Turkey. He wasn't my favorite person. And of course, I'm not going to judge all Turkish people by him. but he was he was very bright, but extremely arrogant. Like, someone who's so arrogant that it just, like you don't even want to talk to them. But he was one of those people. Because obviously he knew that he's bright. I met the pastor's son from United Arab Emirates who wore his pants a little bit too high for my comfort, and a little bit too tight. He taught me, well, I taught myself how to drive a stick shift on his car because he had a nice Mitsubishi Eclipse. Boy, that car, candy red. What a beauty. He was supposed to teach me how to drive, but he was trying to touch my leg while we were driving. I was like, sir, please, hands off my knees. I have a boyfriend. This ain't going to work. I don't know who you are, but I don't even know you like that. So don't touch my leg. It was a learning experience. I think that's what university is all about. Getting to meet people from all over the world. So he was certainly interesting. And I must tell you that I also met people in the LGBTQ plus community as a university student. I remember a guy named George. George was a pilot. He was a pilot, trainee pilot. And so he would always ask me to go with him. I was a resident assistant back in the day. So George would ask me to go with him on the plane. I don't know what I was thinking back then. Child, when you're young, you don't think about how you're putting your life in the hands of a student pilot. Mind you, he had a regular pilot on board, but still. I was like, oh, honey child, what am I doing in this little Cessna plane with a student pilot? Anyway, one day, George and I hung out, and one day George said to me, he was driving. He lived somewhere Florida, like more south, like Naples or somewhere in that area. And we were driving, and he came out to me. I was the first person actually that George came out to publicly. And he said, I want to tell you something. And I was like, okay, George, what's up? And he says that I'm gay. And as he said that, he ran a red light because the light had just changed. And I said, George, that's not the kind of thing that you have to kill me after you've told me. Please. It's going to be okay. You don't have to kill me. And so he actually wanted me to go home with him one weekend so that he could tell his parents. And I was like, okay, I mean, I didn't think I was your best friend, but if you need that type of support, then yeah, okay, I'll go with you. I mean, I've not been through this before, so I don't know what to expect or whatever. And so he did tell his parents. His mom, I think she knew. Mothers know these things anyway. So the mom knew already, and she was like, okay, all right, we're going to get through this. But the dad was not as receptive. And so there was some, issues there with his dad. And I said, well, maybe your dad will come around. I don't know. But this is part of what a lot of these people have to go through, is the acceptance, not even of the broader community, but just of their family members. And not having a family member accept you for who you are, especially a parent, has got to be one of the most difficult things, I imagine, that anyone could ever go through. So, I was just there, supportive for him. And I got an inside look into his transition of trying to just be who he was already, but not trying to hide it. And so, yes, when he said to me, hey, can we go to Trax? Those of you who lived in Tampa back in the mid to late 90s, you know that Trax was the hottest nightclub in Ybor City. But it was actually a gay club. Like, that was a safe space for them, except on Thursday nights. Thursday nights was straight night. And so I would go on Thursday nights, and a lot of university, because they had great music, they'd put on shows and all sorts of stuff. So I went on Thursday nights because, I was always a designated driver, child. Everybody else was drinking a little bit too much. And so, yes, I was their designated driver. But I do recall, going with him and some other people. And, he just started to really explore who he was. And I thought, well, university life is about growth and exploration and figuring out who you are and what your boundaries are and all sorts of stuff, So it is what it is. There was a guy named Ludovic. He was French. I can't remember his last name. I've always wanted to look him up because I suspect he became a famous artist because he was so amazing already. We used to play tennis. My boyfriend and I used to play tennis a lot with him. And Ludovic actually had an amazing artistic talent. And he was even at that point submitting paintings to the president of France back in those days. Yeah, so I don't know whatever happened to Ludovic, but I was like, wow, he's so talented. And I always suspected, we never had an occasion to talk about his sexuality, but I always suspected that Ludovic was probably gay. You know, sometimes you can tell. It's a bit hard to hide. But it wasn't something that's like, listen, if people don't bring it up to me, I've got very, very close friends. Everybody's like, oh, he's gay, he's bisexual. I'm like, I don't know, because it's not something that that person has ever brought up to me. And I'm not going around peeping in your closet, trying to see what you're doing in the bedroom. So I actually don't really care. You know, if my friend has never said it to me, and I can honestly say that there's one friend in particular who I believe is probably at the very minimum bisexual, maybe gay, but trying to live the Cayman straight life. I have never asked him the question, and I don't honestly care. And so, you know, he is a friend. It's not something that I need to get involved with his life on that level, his relationships. He's never asked me a relationship question. So as far as I'm concerned, it is honestly none of my business. And that's how I keep it. So, you know, there you have it. I think we obsess about things that really we are just wasting our time on. Morning, CE Bank. Zoe says the two men that got caught in Georgetown kissing was arrested, and they didn't even have video footage, just eyewitnesses to how these one so special now. Were they actually arrested yesterday? That's interesting. I hadn't heard that. So let me see if I can verify that, because that would be interesting if they did. And yeah, but yet we can't arrest a man who assaulted a 17-year-old young man. Miss Gladys, good morning. Damien said there's also asexual. I can't keep up, but you know, again, all I can tell you is I'm confident in what I'm doing and who I am. You know, I don't. Yeah. Morning to Allison. Let me go back and read some of your comments. I think I need to scroll back up a little bit. All right. It's the deep throat French kissing for me, says Elizabeth. That's not appropriate for public, no matter what your sexuality is. Sorry, not sorry. And I agree. Like, I wouldn't be comfortable seeing two straight people do that either. I don't think that that's necessary in public. You know, a little peck on the cheek or even a little peck on the lips is okay, but there does not need to be a makeout segment in public spaces. But once again, we have seen that happen even as it relates to heterosexual people. Straight people be out there kissing going on. I'm like, ew. So I feel the same way regardless of who they are. So from that perspective, Elizabeth, I agree that that was simply not necessary. Jean says it's only homophobic adults that would be threatened and castigated and castigating judgment. Voyager says it's amazing how quickly we get distracted from the real issues this country is facing. No wonder this country is in a mess. For the lack of intelligence, the people shall perish. The Zoe says, no offense, but they have to be kissing each other on the lips when it's prohibited. Look good and try to explain that to your young ones. Again, you know, I don't know that my daughter has ever seen anybody kissing like that. So that might raise an eyebrow because she's just never seen it from anyone. She'd be like, oh, why are they kissing like that? Because I teach her in my household, especially, that, you know, she certainly doesn't go around wanting to kiss anybody like that. And nobody dares kiss her on the lips even. You know, if she wants to give me a little kiss, it's on the cheek. Because I know some of y'all parents love kissing your kids on the lips. And I said, no, honey child, not in this household. So she knows to kiss me on the cheek if she wants to kiss me. She's very affectionate. She's actually a very affectionate child. So a lot of times she'll just come and want to hug and kiss me on the cheek, and I'll kiss her on the cheek. So she might be taken aback by that as an 8-year-old, like, Mom, why are those people kissing on the lips? You told me none of that. And I'm like, yep, I would tell her again, none of that. What a mess. Tartarian says they're on the beach. What do you wear to the beach? That's what swim trunks look like. I mean, I didn't think, you know, I was trying to look. I did not think there was anything unusual about the clothing. So, I don't know. I think, again, when we're obsessed with a situation, we're going to be trying to take out a magnifying glass and looking at these people and how, oh, that swim trunk is a little bit too high. I'm like, listen. Hannah says misery loves company, and there are people out there that don't want to see anyone else be happy. Catherine, good morning, says, so long as they spend money, who cares? K-Man has plenty of their own gays. Some of them are your family, friends, coworkers. People get a life. And you know what is so interesting about gay people when they travel? This is statistically information now, is they tend to have more disposable income than their heterosexual counterparts, because most of them don't really have any kids. And they can have very good paying jobs, and they like to travel and spend money and all this sort of stuff, living their best lives. So it is very, very interesting, Catherine, sorry, that you say that, because the research has shown, even from a tourism perspective, that yes, they tend to have more of a disposable income and they don't mind spending it. Now, we got people sitting here talking about we need that money from those cruise shippers. Well, there's a small group of men who's going to probably spend a bunch of money going on tours. They want to do the luxury excursions for the day and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think y'all are obsessing about the wrong things for sure. Jane says, if your children go to 7 Mile Beach, they see women in dental floss bikinis. I run 6 to 7 miles on the beach every day, so I can vouch for that. Not only that, Jean, but they're going to see people hanging out by the bathroom, selling drugs and other things. So your children will see a lot more than just that. I wouldn't be concerned. If I were you, I would want to try to protect them from some of the other stuff. And this is what I actually said to the person yesterday. I said, what you need to be concerned about are the people who are on the beach pleasuring themselves, as we have seen that man do in front of children. Remember a couple months ago, the kids recorded that. Those perverts, that's who you need to be worried about. Or the children who are molested at the beach by total strangers. Remember, there was the Indian guy who was in the water inappropriately touching young Caymanian children at Smith Barcadier a couple years ago, and he was arrested and found guilty for that. That's what, as parents, you need to focus on, right? That is what your children need to be protected from. So Gabby, good morning. I see the Honorable Kenneth Bryan has joined us. We're going to transition over to him in just a second. Lavana, thank you so much. Lavana says they're seeing more than just that on their phones. They give their children a phone for the day, from the day they're born. Check their phones and see what they're watching. Just saying. That is very true. And we need to have a serious conversation about screen time, because that's one of the most dangerous things to the mental health of your children. We had a very interesting presentation on it at the symposium a couple weeks ago. So Zoe, I'm confirming with the RCIPS if that statement was true. So let me just look into that. Stanley says these people are expressing exactly what was mentioned earlier. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression sounds like hypocrisy to me. Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah. Speaking of freedom of speech and freedom of expression, we see that Dan Scott has sued, is threatening to sue. Well, I guess he has. Not Kathy, what's her name? Carrie Whitaker again. So the last time it was about 4 very specific videos, and she agreed to take them down. And apparently he's not happy with that. I guess he has people going through and combing through her content. Who has that kind of time? I'm just curious. And they are pulling up her content. I see we had a missed call. I'll call you back. They're pulling up her content to see what else may have
Sorry, the number you are calling is unable to accept your call at this time.
Well, I don't know why, but anywho, well, I paid that $50 to Flo yesterday, by the way. But yes, he's suing Carrie again. Dan Scott, listen, can I just give you a little bit of advice, sir? Come in a little bit closer. Dan, come close to me. Why are you wasting? Is because you just have too much money? You should be spending that money in the campaign trail, right? And a little bit more advertising, because people still don't know who your candidates are. Take that money that you're spending to these lawyers at Appleby, put that into your campaign, because this is now reached a threshold of being absolutely redunculous. Not even ridiculous. It's now redunculous, which is even worse than ridiculous. It's just, it's such a bad look for you that I don't think you have any idea, right? People are wondering if you're going to be the Donald when you get in there, or if you're going to be, what's the word? What's the word that I'm looking for? Subversive when it comes to freedom of speech, where you're going to, media can't come to your press conferences and they can't say this about you and that about you. Listen, honey child, you've thrown your hat into the political arena. People are going to say things about you. And yes, you're not going to like it. And it may be threatening and defamatory. It may be defamatory, but honey child, I'm telling you that this does not help you on the campaign trail. As bad as we say Julie is, and we know, she's gotten up and talked about media before. She has never, to her credit, she has never once excluded media from anything. We've gotten all of her invites to her functions and whatever, right? And she has never tried to sue any media house either. So I think you really need to rein it in. I mean, they're having another hearing on Friday. This is such a bad look for you on the election trail. And I can tell you, if Miss Julie's running, chances are you're not even going to get elected. Just telling you the God's honest truth, because them Kim Brackers, you can give them all the money in the world and they can still vote Julie back in because, she's been there for 30 years. So if I were you, I would just pump the brakes on this approach. Like, it's just not a good look at all. My God, Leroy says you have thin skin. That's the appearance. You know how many times people say things that are not true about me? And I'm like, one of these days I might slap somebody with a lawsuit just to send a message, but this is too much. No, sir. And you know what you're doing? So we have an editorial that we're going to publish today because someone has an opinion about it. All you're doing is make people talk even more on the ground about this whole situation. A lawyer, a local attorney, I'm not going to call his name, sent me several articles yesterday about you. And he didn't even put your name anywhere in the message. He just sent it along. And one of the things, interestingly enough, was a lawsuit where Ernst & Young settled. I think he sent me about 3 different things now about you. So one says Ernst & Young Cayman, current and former partners, settle litigation with Cash for Titles investor Lewis Rowe, offshore alert. So now you have even people in the legal profession who are watching your movements, and they know that certain things, maybe Carrie isn't getting everything factually correct, but there's certain things that she might be saying that, have raised an eyebrow. They went back to your 2013 libel lawsuit against Mr. Joey Ebanks, which, that one was probably warranted, but still, they're digging up in you because they're like, what does this man have to hide that he keeps suing people in an election cycle, left, right, and center? It's a bad look for you. Take my advice and leave Carrie Whitaker, Horick, Tibbetts, whatever the name is, leave her alone. It is doing you more damage than it's doing to her. It really, 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 really is. And the fact that you have time to even be going through all of Carrie's content in her videos to find more than the 4 that was in your original lawsuit, to me, I find a little bit disturbing. You shouldn't have none of that time on the campaign trail. Honest to God, you should be occupying yourself with trying to secure more than the 2 seats that the CINP is going to get. Lord Jesus. Oh, you're saying the last 2. Oh, my apologies. Okay, no, I thought you were saying those 2. All right, not to worry. I got you now, honey chill. All right. No, sir. Y'all don't want to listen to people, my God. I don't know who y'all have in your camps giving you advice on these types of things, but Lord Jesus, take the wheel, because you have no idea what the people on the ground are actually all about and what they're thinking and what they're saying. All right. 628 people on the live stream. Yes, sir. We're ready. More than it just went up. Y'all must have been messing each other. Come on through. Miss Sandy's talking about something good, honey child. We got 575 on YouTube and Facebook, and then another 50 over on Instagram. Instagram be holding it down. All right, let's bring the Honorable Kenneth Bryan into the studio now. John LaRue says, do I actually think the voters are going to get it right this time? Evelyn says, then he'll blame the blogger again for his demise. Anthony says, Sandy, I have a question. Does all of the legal challenges by Mr. Scott be part of his campaign spending declaration or overspending so persons of mega money can spend whatever during political season and not account for it? Over the kitchen man seeking election. What's over the kitchen? I don't even know what that means. I don't think it counts as campaign money. Obviously, it's a lawsuit. But whatever Applebee's is charging him is $1 wasted. It's just too much. Marshall says, that's what I said yesterday in a previous post. He needs to grow some thick skin if he plans to be in the public eye. And, you know, the worrying thing about it is that people will now feel like, OMG, when he gets in, what does that mean for like media? Like no media is going to want to cover his events because they're going to be scared that, good gosh, if you say something he doesn't like, he's going to be suing you. Just leave it alone. Oh my God. Johan says he's going to defame my brownies. He says her brownies are extra dry up, no lies told, #facts. I know that's why you keep eating them. I gave some away to a young man yesterday, and he messaged me right after like, oh my God, Sandy, these brownies are the bomb. Make some for me anytime. All right, Honorable Kenneth Bryan in the house. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sandy. Good morning to your listening audience. You got me over here cracking up about your brownies.
I know. Have you ever had any? I don't think you've had any.
No, you didn't want to give me any. You gave them all to Johan.
Well, the good news is that means you're probably about 25 pounds lighter than Johan. So that's okay. You can stay slim and suave. But yes, thank you so much for joining us today. We know a lot has been going on with you on the political trail. Obviously, now things are starting to kick up, Monday being nomination day. And by the way, good folks, make sure y'all tune in for nomination day because we're going to be here. I went back in the archives, Kenneth, and I'm just going to call you Kenneth, you know.
That's okay.
Honorable Minister. But I went back in the archives and back in 2021, nomination day fell on March the 1st last time. And we did a 7-hour and 15-minute show. I still can't believe that I can talk that long, but there you go. World record. And we covered everything in terms of nominations, and we were at the polling stations, and we intend to fully do that again this election cycle. So we know that you have made some moves in the last couple weeks, maybe even months, because I think you've been thinking about it for a while. And you have, after 10 years, come back to, Anthony says, Sandy made history today. She interviewed her first PPM MP candidate. That's true. Look at that, Anthony. You're a smart one. So yes, I mean, you are, you've decided to rejoin the PPM after 10 years of what we would call, for sure, a tumultuous relationship. So how do you go from getting fired? I mean, this is like, getting married again, but you guys have really kissed and made up. How do you go from getting fired back in 2015 by then Premier Alden McLaughlin and leaving the Progressives to having, roller coaster ride with them after that 10-year period to rejoining them now? Tell us what has happened.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on. Before I get into that, I hope everybody's having a good day, and thank you for tuning in. In 2015, persons would have known that I ran with the Progressives
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't win my seat. It was multi-member constituency back then. The Honorable Sir Alan McLaughlin gave me a job as his political aide. So I had an opportunity to work in the Premier's office. Um, I'm not sure if it would be best considered as firing. It was a firing, though.
Yeah,
But
I
the
mean, we all
reason,
know he terminated
yeah.
you. Yeah.
So you may recall that at that time, the case came up about was defending the off-duty police officer from her abusive boyfriend. The police arrested me, not recognizing what the circumstances were. Then I was charged for was it? I can't even remember what it was. I think it was like a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct or something like that. I can't remember. And I think I'm not trying to defend his position because we never really ever talked about why he did that. That it's kind of irrelevant in my mind nowadays.
You
But
never had a conversation with him about that?
No, I always just said, you made a mistake, and I think you pulled the trigger too early. I mean, obviously it didn't. I can only assume it didn't look good for him politically to have his political aide before the courts. But obviously, in the
That
end,
was the reason he gave. But let me tell you what the streets was saying back in the day, because we can
yeah,
tell you the cold hard truth. Yes,
yeah,
that was the official reason that he gave. And he actually said something, and I found it yesterday because I was digging up a little bit, where he actually said that apparently you were arrested for something else before that. And we don't even know, what that supposedly was, because he never did say. But the police told him that you were arrested weeks or something or a month prior to that incident. And so he had a lot to say about you. And I must say that I would have thought, so this is even more interesting for me now, that you never had any sort of a coming to Jesus conversation with him. Because listen, things happen, right? We make up, we break up as friends, as acquaintances, as even political allies. Relationships ebb and flow. And this got me to thinking about even my relationship with Wayne Panton. Like Wayne Panton and I, back in the day, before he entered politics and before that was even a thing, we had a relationship. And I think it's because at one point I briefly worked at Walker's. So I've kind of knew him from in that environment, and he was in the neighborhood, and, I just knew him, and we would always talk on the phone and, hail him up back in the day when you still had the Blackberries and whatever. And when he joined the PPM, I saw a side of him that I actually didn't like. Now, I wasn't in the PPM at that particular time, but, we had a bit of what I would call a bit of a falling out. And so I stopped talking to him. And, during the last election, we had to have a conversation. There was no way to rebuild a relationship in my mind without having a conversation. So we sat down and we had a conversation. We didn't sit down, but we were on the phone. And he said, "What happened? Where did we go wrong?" And I explained to him certainly what I was feeling at the time and what was in my head. And, he apologized. And I said, "All right, well, we're all human beings, and sometimes we screw up, we do things. Let's see the best way forward, but I make myself very clear in relationships now, especially what my expectations are. Even in business and professional relationships, I want to be very, very clear about what my expectations are and how people will conduct themselves." And the one thing I said to him, this is politics. The only request I have of you as an MP and as someone who will be coming on my program, coming on the show, is don't ever lie to me. That is my hard line where we're going to have a problem if you lie to me. So don't ever lie to me. And by extension, that means that you're not going to be lying to the people of the Cayman Islands. If you can't say something, then you don't say it. So having said that, even you and I, we've ebbed and flowed over the years, and we've had to sit down and have a conversation. So I'm shocked that you've actually never had a conversation with Alden about this.
Well, I don't think there was a need to. Whatever choice he made is irrelevant today, because the progressives then isn't the progressives today. I mean, this decision is not about Charlene McLaughlin. This decision is about Georgetown Central. So, I mean, he was the head of the party then, the leader of the party. And he's not the leader of the party today, and he's going into retirement. So I think I'm over that. Like
Mhm.
I think that the Lord, I mean,
10 years
I'm
is a
not trying
long
to,
time.
yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
trying to, get into religion on your show, but God made that happen for a reason, because believe it or not, since then, there was a movement to see that for what it was, and the people got behind me. I was successful in 2017 and again in 2021. So everything happens for a reason, right? So I'm over that. Right now, it's more about the people of the Cayman Islands and what I need to do to make sure to assist them. So the getting over that is, it's not a top priority. I think that my relationship with the now leader, Joey Hugh, is probably most pertinent.
Yes.
And the rest of the members who are running on the ticket,
Mhm.
Sir Alan McLaughlin is still part of the Progressives.
Mhm.
Um, but
Well,
if
he
if
seems to
it,
be a big part of it. I mean, we know that Joey is the on this coming weekend, March the 1st at the PPM conference. We expect him to be confirmed as leader. But even in WhatsApp groups and stuff, I saw a message a couple of days ago where Alden is still acting like he's a leader. So I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole. But here's a listener to the program. They said it's funny that Alden couldn't pull the trigger against McKeeva with all that he's done over the years, but yet he had the strength for Kenneth. I mean, anyway, you move past it. If you move past it, who the heck are the rest of us to hold a grudge? It is what it is.
exactly, I'm over it. I want to focus issues of the people of the country. That's all I care about. So I I think the fundamental question was what made me change and go
Mhm,
back to the progressives. Well, the
mhm.
progressives of 2013 is not the progressives of today.
Okay.
And I'm not the same Kenneth I was in 2013 that I am today. I've learned a lot. I recognize the political maturity that is necessary. You can't do everything by yourself. You have to make sure you're unified in your approach. I recognize the reason why we couldn't get a lot of things done,
Mhm,
being in so many different directions. I mean, the truth is, you see that there's a fragmentation of the current administration. Some
mhm,
members went off in a different direction, and I think the truth is quite like it was like you had a Republican and a Democrat party joining hands together forcefully, and it just naturally had to go separate ways because the ideological approaches to things, even though it's not rooted in its definition by ideological approaches, but you can tell their approaches is a little bit different in respect to the political arena and the things that you want to get done for the people. So naturally, you're going to go in different directions, and I think that regardless of what direction the people choose,
mhm,
I think they need to just choose a clear one, because what happens is, for example, in the United States, if you get a Democrat government,
mhm.
that's what you're going to have for 4 years, right?
Hmm.
At the very
All right,
least, you're
let's
not going to.
stick a pin right there because I do want to come back to that point. We do have a caller in the line. Good morning, caller. Question or comment, please.
Yes, good morning, Miss Sandra. Good morning to
Morning,
Mr.
dear.
Kenneth Bryan, Deputy Premier.
Good morning, ma'am.
Know that it's a very crucial time for us, and it's election, so we need to have everybody minds clear as to where we gonna go. I don't want how to be the black. I didn't hear it in the talk shows earlier, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm not repeating myself. But I have a question to ask Mr. Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I would like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
know what is his status, or what is his status on the situation that we're dealing with that 17-year-old Caymanian boy
Mm-hmm.
that has been assaulted by that foreign man that it took advantage of that young man. And we want to know what's his status, because we don't hear no MP, whether it is in government or opposition. I haven't heard it, but if I did, if
Mm-hmm.
they support, I'll ask them to forgive me, but I haven't heard no comments from none of them. And I think this is a good time for them to tell us,
Mm-hmm.
as he's the deputy premier, where he stand on it, or what the government thinks about it.
All right,
What
we're
they
gonna
intend
come
do
to that,
about
my
it.
darling. Very good question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right,
Have a nice day.
thanks.
Bye.
You too. All right, we're gonna come to that here in just a second. But Kenneth, you were saying, and I do find it interesting that you talked about what happened with the PAC government and people were forced to come together, and they had no common ideology amongst themselves. So, what is the common ideology between you and the progressives in 2025?
Well, so far, one thing I do know is that you have maturity in respect to how you approach things. I think that the bus stops, as they would call it, that happened in this administration, I think it's less likely to happen in the next administration.
Mm-hmm.
Also, from a tourism perspective, I think that some of the things I know that the progressives would stand for in respect to opportunities for Caymanians, they would believe in as well. One of the other topics which we're trying to flush out right now is the necessary immigration reforms to from a labor perspective, as well as a protection from ownership of your homeland, because people think about immigration from work, but there's also status grants and so forth, and what we need to do to make sure that um, we're no longer the minority or end up being such a minority that our voices are not heard. And I don't want the public to think that I'm extremist, but we do recognize that the balance that we have now from an immigration perspective is not adequate or protective of our people. So we need to make some changes there, and they've accepted that. So those kind of fundamentals, like the last time we had a shake up in this administration when the Honorable Wayne Panton was in charge, I begged him, I asked him, I said, can you allow me to have border control where immigration lies? And he said, no, he didn't. He think I would be too extreme for it. And I guess that's where some of the foundation differences between, I don't know what the CCP's position is going to be
Mm-hmm.
on immigration. I hope it's going to be one. I think every group should have a strong immigration position in their manifestos, because I think it's one of the topics that leads to many other problems that we have. It could be led to traffic, it can be led to the housing costs, it could be led to um, um, job opportunities in the workforce, it could be led to um, the imbalance of our ownership in companies, because I mean, once you get status, and by all means anybody who gets it should be deserving of it. Hopefully everybody that's deserving of it is getting it, but that's just one more person you have to compete with in the business sense. So there's those things, uh, but I didn't come prepared with all the reasons why we need the immigration reform, because we're refining those and we're talking about those on the campaign trail. But
Yeah. No,
that's
no,
a
no. I
topic
mean,
that
we're
we.
just trying to understand. You say that you're aligned with them in terms of ideology, so we wanted to understand where those alignments were. Where they were essentially. So we've got another
Yeah.
caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Kenneth. It's
Morning.
Elizabeth.
Morning.
I'll tell you my name.
How you? Good morning, Elizabeth.
I wholeheartedly believe you where you stand on immigration. Do I believe PPM? No. PPM has proved to us time and time again that they will say whatever it takes on the campaign trail. Prime example, Mr. Seymour, who is now a part of PPM. They say what they want to say and what they need to say to get in, and then they failed us time and time again. Like I said, Kenneth, I'll give you props. I believe you where you stand on immigration. But how can we trust them that it's not just lip service again? I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. Yeah, fair question, Kenneth, because we do see, for example, that the person who has had border control for a good part of the last 4 years is your colleague now in the PPM, Mr. John Seymour. And he has failed. He's not done anything with it, especially since on the campaign trail last time, he was coming hot and heavy about no more work permits. And he campaigned on that. Apparently, people believed him. And we see we've had more than enough work permits in 4 years.
Well, thank you so much for the question, and thank you so much, Elizabeth, for trusting that I'm a person of my word, and when I say that I believe in something, I'm going to do it. But again, even more reason to be a part of a group that is going to commit to that beforehand. So the independents came together afterwards, and everybody was saying a number of different things in their various different manifestos. So it was quite hard to hold everybody accountable to an agreement that you made, and that's some of the failures that we had. I think seeing it in their manifesto and knowing that they will commit to it and say, listen, this is what you said you're going to do. I think the PPM has, at the very least, the experience and the track record of saying, I said I'm going to do this, and they've done it. And sometimes, and you may say, well, okay, that's in the negative by, oh, they did some stuff I didn't want them to do. But at least you know that they're an experienced group that says they're going to do something, they will do it. So in respect to my now colleague and his decisions to do or not do, I can't speak for him. He can speak for himself. But I do know that majority of the reasons why we weren't able to do a lot of the immigration stuff is because we could never get consensus. Another reason why I want to be a part of a group, because we can have those consensus before we go to the people and ask the people for our support. Because in my mind, manifesto is like a document with the people, a contract with your people to say, this is what you're going to do, this is what you said you're going to do, and you can hold them to account with that. It's hard to do that when the government is made up of 7 or 8 different mindsets in respect to how you look at immigration. So I think that the best way I would say to you, Elizabeth, and those who worry about that same concern, which is a justified concern, is look at the manifesto once it's completed and examine that to say, is this adequate enough in my mind as what I want done in respect to immigration reform and so forth, and then choose from there. I think the public knows that I'm committed to it because I recognize it is connected to so many other things.
All right, we do have another caller.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes. All right, caller. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Miss Sandy, and good morning, Mr. Kenneth.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Miss Sandy and Mr. Kenneth. PPM was there for a while before this government. They have never done anything with immigration. And I am asking and pleading with the Cayman Island people, be careful what they vote for, who they vote for this election. Because we're going to get back the same thing. It's better to give somebody else a chance and see where they lie than go back with the same person or the same party and get back the same thing. Every time an election come up, that's the only time immigration issue come up. We are being played too many times. And I'm kind of surprised that Mr. Kenneth went back with PPM because he stand alone the last time and the people trust him more than when he stand with anybody else. And I tell you, Mr. Kenneth, I prefer you to stand alone and stand with God than stand with the devil and go to hell, because the people are not going to trust you as long as you go back with the PPM.
Wow.
PPM is Poor People Movement for Cayman. They have done us so much in Cayman. They have sell us out. There is no comeback for the people in Cayman with PPM. I am saying to the Cayman Island people, make sure when you go to vote, put your vote where you want to see change. Thank you very much. And
Thank
God
you, my
bless
dear.
you, man.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Wow. We have another caller. I mean, the phone lines are hot.
Sandra,
Yes.
Sandra, please, I would really like to address that concern the lovely lady said, and I understand how she feels, because history, you can't get away from it. You will be held accountable for past actions. But I want to say this in respect to past actions. You want to compare apples to apples, and I don't think that what you saw in 2013, 2009, and going far back to when much of the immigration reforms you see today are not reflective now. So many of the changes, the 7-year rollover policy and all those things happened a while back. And even if you look at the landscape today, those persons are not even there anymore. So if you look at the people who are running on the ticket, you have almost a brand new slate of candidates, and I think it's hard, it's difficult to be held to account to past actions of different people. I think what the Progressives has as an organization is the engine room.
All right, Carl, just let the Honorable Minister finish, and we're coming to you.
So by all means, and I don't think that's ever going to go away in respect to people's viewpoint on the past. But what I can say to you is that I will ensure that the group that I'm a part of will be held to account in respect to what we say we'll do. So it's like saying, for instance, holding President Biden or President Trump accountable to George Bush's leadership and what they did in the past. I think the organization is an engine room of how to get people elected to the team, and the leadership will be different and will have different approaches to things. I'll tell you what, I can promise you this. If the progressives want me to be a part of that family, they have to commit to those commitments and follow through. Because just as much as I joined, I can quickly resign. And that's not
concept here in a second. But another caller.
Yeah. One second, Sandra.
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Minister.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. So I'll take the caller.
All right. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Question or comment?
Is it me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The Honorable Minister, I have to say that he did try to make immigration changes.
Yes.
I was serving on the PR board, and he did meet with the then Premier and members of other boards. My question to him is, the present leader of the PPM government is conflicted by his family's business, his wife's business, and the whole environment he is in. How is he going to ensure? Because as we get, the population growth is taking place, especially on those customers that are on the higher echelons of society. The ones that will be buying those apartments that are at Commander B. The ones that will be, their apartments will be furnished through various companies. I'm not calling any company's name. And the companies that will be used to clean those environments. How will the minister ensure that these changes, because I can't see how a person will make decisions that can take bread out of his family mouth. I just don't make sense to me. So I would like to know, and KB know who this is. As I said, I will give him credit. I will give him credit. He did. He was one of those. And when I left that meeting, I said, thank you for having me. But I know no immigration changes will take place. So I must say, he did his part. I will confess. He tried to do his part. That is why I could say this to you, Sandra. I walked off to that PR board because I told the minister, say, sir, I got sleep when night comes. And I can't sleep if I got to give away my country. You got the people in the media cussing you. You got the ones that married to Caymanians, they're not going too fast enough. And you got the business community writing up in the chamber. And I say, guess what? I can tend to my personal business. You maybe got taken, but I don't have to. So I got sleep. So I decided I'm not going to be a part of that mucker. That is the way I stand. And my question to him is, as I said, how will a leader of the PPM be able to stay and to, because Mr. Sandra, you've always said there's a lot of people that are conflicting in their businesses and getting government contracts. These won't be government contracts, but these will be private citizen contracts. So how will he take? Because that business has bloomed and multiplied. All sides of the business, the janitorial side, the whole out-suiting apartment side has all blossomed. So all of a sudden you got to tell me all those businesses will change as a result of immigration laws being changed? I wasn't born yesterday. That's my comment.
Thank you, my dear.
As I said, the minister did do his part when he was there. I could say that.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right. 772 plus 4 is 6. 776 people on the live stream. Thank you so much, callers. We have a lot of questions that are coming in. And let's get to some of the questions and comments now, both on WhatsApp and... yes, sir.
Yeah, otherwise I'm just going to be sitting here taking comments as opposed to answering anything. So sorry for interrupting you. First off, I want to thank the caller who called in. One of my amazing constituents, very strong-minded, strong Black Georgetown woman. So I thank her so much for always being bold to say what she feels. So when I think about the question she asked specifically, how will I ensure that? The truth is, no politician can ever ensure you anything, because you need to have a collective group committed to those types of things. Because it's no different. Like, say, for example, I decide to run by myself and I join the government and I say, oh, I'm going to do X. How can I commit to you without surety that all the other 9, because you need at least a minimum of 9 members to have the majority, a minimum of 10, so yourself plus 9, to carry anything through Parliament. So the truth is, it's about trust. And I believe that the people of Georgetown Central trust me enough to know that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. But it's how you get to doing it is the point I'm trying to make here. I've recognized that I can't do this by myself. And I'm going to need others elected with me who is going to give the commitment to do X and then to deliver it. Now, I think what we're talking about here is a challenge of trust with people to say, Kenneth, I trust you. I believe you're going to do it. But how can I trust other people? And I think that people know my character enough to know that I would talk to the group to say, listen, I don't want to be a part of something that is not going to commit to doing something. So when I say I'm going to do it, or if I'm going to join a family, this family has to be committed to doing what it takes. So I think that it's up to us as a group, as the progressives, over the next 2 months to look the people in the eye and say, listen, this is what we're going to do, and convince them. Because no matter what anybody says, as the old saying goes, a mouth made to say anything. So it's about building trust with your people. And I agree, we have to convince them that when we put it in the manifesto, that's going to happen. But I think that if you look at that as a backdrop, the progressives have said what they're going to do in the past, and they did it. Now, they didn't have the immigration reforms in there that you may have wanted. So if it's in there now with a track record of doing what they say they was going to do, maybe that's enough to make the people trust them. So I don't know how else to answer, because I'm not, like you said, always be honest with your people. Even if they don't like what you say, they will respect how you deal with it. So that's the best way I can answer that question.
All right. So my question to you then is, you've said that they have a track record of doing what they say that they're going to do. Can you give me at least 3 examples in their administration for the 12, 15 years that they were there, where they did things that they said that they were going to do on the campaign trail?
Okay. 2 things come to mind. In 2013, coming off the back of the then United Democratic Party government, they had the outline in their manifesto about the immigration reforms that they did put in place, which some people question today whether they're good or not. But they had a fundamental change in that. Also, they said, and they campaigned on the split of the workforce and customs. So what immigration used to be, and they fundamentally changed that. Whether it's working or not, totally different subject. What we're talking about, if you say you're going to do something, you did it. And it takes a long time for these fundamental changes. The other part, which was derailed by the referendum against the port, but they campaigned in 2013. It was in the 2013 manifesto, and then they tried to deliver in the 2017 administration, which is the cruise pair situation, cruise pair development. But rightfully so, the people stood up and said, listen, I want to have a say in this. But then COVID happened. That never happened. But you can see that there is a history of, you put it in your manifesto and you see the development of these things. Because what I fancy happened in the last administration is everybody had strong wishful thinking. But a lot of people don't always recognize how difficult it is to do fundamental changes in the civil service, in legislation, and any kind of reform. This is not just going to go in and go, immigration has changed. You have to think about the regulations. You have to think about the legislation. You got to think about the cause and effect on businesses, on Caymanians, on labor, on population growth. All of those things have to have a systematic approach to it. And I must say this, any kind of decisions that the progressives have made, you can depend on analysis being done properly, Now, the outcome later on, so the end result, it may be questionable, and you will examine it, because 2020 vision is always best. After the situation is done, you look at it and say, oh, that was not the best thing in the world. So you look at that, and then you say, all right, do we need to reform that? Because nothing is perfect. So those are just the ones off the top of my head. I'm certain if I went back to the PPM manifestos, that I can see examples of things they said they're going to do.
Where can we find their current manifesto? Is that on the website?
It's not completed yet, but it will be. I think the intention is to have it released about mid-March. So January, February, March.
So
yeah, about mid-March.
How can you say that you're aligned with the manifesto if the manifesto isn't yet completed?
Well, it's not finished, but the draft of it is done. Okay. So we have had discussions about what's in it, what the priorities should be, what the high-level issues are, what are the high-level ways to solve it, and not only that, but you got the editing, word correct, spell checks, platform, how you do it within the booklet. So to be honest, we've gone through that analysis stuff. It's now for the artists and the graphic designers to fill out the pictures with images of candidates and all that stuff. So we've had those talks. Yeah.
Okay, we got a caller in the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. And by the way, I've thrown up a QR code. Scan the QR code. This is a question now for today's show. So we're using a new system because y'all were cheating with the whole port thing, which we're going to throw back up in a couple of days. So now we can actually lock out VPN. So you can't use that to try and hide and vote multiple times. We can restrict by IP voting and stuff as well. So the question here is in relation to the Honorable Kenneth Bryan joined the PPM. Do you agree with him joining the PPM with his decision? Yes or no? They're the two available answers. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Alexander.
Good morning,
good
dear.
morning. Hope all is well.
Yes, ma'am.
I am very disappointed how you can say that you cannot do something alone when God is always there by you. I'm disappointed when you say that. God is always there, even when you're doing it alone. Do not forget God. I'm going to tell you that. People, and let me finish. Sorry, but let me finish. I put my trust in you, but the fact that you say that you cannot do it alone, and a lot of people are standing up here, putting their faith and they trust in you. With God, do not forget the church. You grew up in that church with us. God is always by your side, Papa. Do not say you never can't do it alone. We all here for you. We still standing by you till you get where you is now, and you're doing a great job. But do not put yourself in the clown's position with PPM. You can't do it alone. You are independent. You can't do it alone. You are not alone. You have a whole group behind you. You have Central, you have Strand, and you have everybody behind you. Do it by yourself. Even if you need a hand, grab that Bible and do it by yourself. We are serious. We believe in you, bro. But don't stand with PPM. PPM not done nothing for us since 2000. Since Ivan come and lick us down, they wash us off the face of the earth. You know no key man is left. It's just me and you out here struggling, Papa. You know where we come from. You know where we started from, School Road. What's going on? I believe in you, bro. You got me crying right now. Like literally, you got me crying right now because my heart is in this. And I praise him for you. I love you, bro. I really do love you. The people love you and they're standing behind you. Please step down from PPM because I don't know where them clowns are going. I don't know what their plan is up to. But it's been years and they have not given us no results. It's just the same game over and over and over, the same lies over and over and over. Just step out of your box and just go back to your roots and walk with us again and think, bro. Think how you all started from. You have your roses. We're giving you your roses and your flowers. Yes. It's serious. Be the change for us Caymanians. Be the future for our Caymanians right now.
Thank you, caller.
Love you.
Kenneth, let me use your proper title. Somebody in protocol said, Sandy, use the proper title. It's a teachable moment. The Honorable Kenneth Bryan, you hear how strongly people feel about your decision. And I must say, I did not expect this kind of emotional response from a lot of people. And everybody in the comment section, this one says, amen, caller. It's too much in point, too much sense now. Darlene says, is there something called political suicide? My God, I honestly didn't expect this level of a strong response against your decision.
Well,
I'm taken back here this morning.
Sandra, I think it's important that you allow me to talk about that, because if they don't hear it from me in my heart and understand, then they will always feel that way. Natural, any kind of decision, any change is going to come with friction. Any movement causes friction. So to understand. So I want to first off say to that caller, thank you so much for believing in me. Thank you so much for always being there for me. And thank you so much for praying for me, because it's people like you that have allowed me to be successful politically, your faith and trust in me. To answer her question about saying that I can't do it alone, you're 100% right. I'm never alone. The Lord is always with me. He's given me the strength and understanding to get this far. So maybe I misspoke or misunderstood when I said that. What I meant is politically, you're going to need other candidates there with you. Because what I found was if you don't have other people who are agreeing with your sentiment on topics, you can never get them passed. You can never change the immigration stuff that we needed. Now, I know that there's a struggle and a fight with what the progressives have done in the past, but I do believe people can change, just like I can change and you can change. And I want the people to believe that Kenneth is never going to change in respect to my approach to how I represent you. It doesn't matter whether I have 10 people beside me or I'm standing by myself as an elected member. I'm going to give my 150,000% to my people. And any day that there's somebody that I believe, regardless if I'm standing with them independently or I join forces with somebody else later on or join another party, it's going to be the same situation. What the foundation of this issue is that the only way that I can fundamentally get those problems fixed is if I have other people with me who all agree to the same thing. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of the same problem for over the last 4 years. Now, I granted, I get it. I understand the frustration. Kenyans have so much to be frustrated about right now because we shouldn't be in this position. We're supposed to have been protecting our people from a long time ago. But I recognize and I've learned politically that what it needs to be done in order to get the yes. When the Honorable Kirk Tibbetts had full support of his team, he was able to carry out in Parliament, in caucus, in cabinet, the things he needed to get done. When McKeever Bush had his full government and his full support, he was able to carry out the things that he needed to get done. And I believe the same approach from a political perspective in order for me to get the changes for you, my good Kimman people. And I believe that when in the next coming days, you'll see one of the main reasons why I stood up and decided to take this approach. One second, Sandra, I want to say this last bit. It took a big step for me to make this decision because just like the caller has said, a lot of people said to me, Kenneth, we got your back. Run as an independent. You're going to win. We're confident in you. But if I run as an independent by myself, where is my strength going to come from that I need to make the changes to protect your life and improve your life? Because I can't do it by myself as a human being. God is always with me, but I need other people with me to be able to make those changes. And the other part that we're not factoring in this discussion thus far is the other groups that are forming. They both have candidates running against me. So you have the National Party with the candidate, Ms. Carmen McField, who I love and respect tremendously. She's a Georgetown Black woman. Come from from our family descent. So she's an amazing person. I wish her the best. But I think I'm the better candidate. We also have Anthony Ramon from town, another candidate running with the CCP. We saw evidence of that with the Honorable Andre E-Banks coming to his meeting recently. So both groups have someone coming to run against me. So if I ran as an independent and I won my seat, what do you think the probabilities are going to be for me to be on the government side?
All right.
You see my point?
Yep. And we do have a caller in the line. We have other callers trying to get through. D says, read more questions and comments from the YouTube chat. I'm coming to you, D. We have over 800 people now on the live stream, folks. This is a hot show. And so I'm going to try to get to as many people as possible. Please, callers, keep it short and sweet if you can for me. Good morning, caller. Thank you. And good. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy.
Morning, sir.
And good morning, Deputy Premier.
Yes, sir.
Kenneth Bryan.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, man. You know who it is? This your boy still. But I got a question for you because when you're part of a group, right, you all talk collectively as one, right?
Yes. That's what it should be. It should be that way, yes.
Okay. Well, me saying that, I believe the PPM for you is the wrong choice. The reason why I say this, because you talk about they want immigration reform, but the first thing that they did the last time that they came to power was what? They raised the rollover policy to 9 years, giving everybody the equal right to be Caymanians after that time, right? And look what it has done to the society of Cayman. Right now, we are outnumbered more than anything else, right? And then number two, I got to make it short and sweet. Number two, how am I going to go with a government who went against the people? Their bosses took us to court, did all these millions of dollars because we didn't want something. That is the cruise port referendum.
No.
That they were doing that time. And you were one guy who was against that too. So
Big brother, let me
and these are the same people as a group. Nobody in the group stood up and said no. They all went with Arlen, and I remember him saying, and I have it recorded, him saying, only God could change his decision. And that was wrong to go against the people who put him there, his bosses. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Big brother, stay on the line for me for 1 second. I think it's important that
he hung up, but he can keep listening, I'm sure.
Okay. I think it's important that we clarify some of the points there, because I think there are bits and pieces of history that are not aligned. For one, it wasn't the government that took the people to court. It was actually the people that took the government to court.
Because the government was listening, arguably.
Yeah, well, you can say that. But just for the record, the government never took the people to court. The CPR group wanted a referendum. The government agreed to the referendum. And then when they did the referendum, the CPR group decided to, I don't think, I would probably not better I say CPR group, but one of the directors of the CPR group decided to challenge the referendum itself, to say that you need to have a referendum law. So that's actually the total opposite. It wasn't that. But I thank you for your point. And the last point about, he said that only God can stop them. I think that was actually in respect to a different project, and I think that was with the schools a long time ago.
Yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. I don't want to come off like I'm defending their behavior, but I think it's important that I clarify the truth, because I don't. Okay. It does sound terrible for anybody to take the people to court. I wouldn't want to be a part of that, but that's not what happened. So I just want to clarify that.
All right, caller. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. Yes, sir. Question or
comment?
Good morning,
sir. I thought he was still talking, sir.
No, go ahead.
All right. Mr. Kenneth, I mean, I don't know you personally, but I know of you from you being in the politics and whatever. And at the beginning, I kind of was a little skeptical about you, but at first. But now I realize that, yeah, you're actually for the people and you've been doing stuff the right way, right? But honestly, I feel like you joining PPM is a suicide move, boss. God no, because like what the other callers say, PPM has been nothing good for the people that I can remember of, right? They have always been their own people. They decide what they want to do, and it doesn't matter what the people say, right? And in my opinion, it shouldn't be like that, right? The politicians are there because they're there to represent the people of the island, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not doing that, then that's not a good fit for the island, and you joining them just honestly, it just making you look bad, right?
Wow.
Because Alden, John, Joey, Hugh, all of them, right? They have all of them when they win power, they had the power to help the people. Joey, Hugh have a lot of sway with CUC and whatever. Yet CUC prices still super sky high, right? People living from paycheck to paycheck can barely pay the CUC bill. All these things, right? Nothing has been done. Nothing, right? The people tell them to do something, yet they still do what they want to do, right? I feel like you guys should be holding each other more accountable. When you put together a bill that is something beneficial to the people of the island and it gets denied or whatever, I feel that you guys should be letting people know who denying that bill so that we can know who is against the people and who is really there for the people, right? And the hiding each other, we can't let you know who denied against this bill and whatever, blah, blah, blah. No. That shouldn't be let out. We need to know who it is fighting against us and who is fighting with us so that we can elect the proper people to represent us.
Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate it. Can I ask you a quick question, caller? I mean, obviously you feel, and generally speaking, people are feeling very, very strongly about the PPM. Like I said, I'm a bit taken aback this morning, a bit surprised. If you were, I mean, obviously the Honorable Minister Kenneth Bryan's on this morning. What about the other candidates that are running about the PPM? So they brought on Donna Bush, they brought Perlina McGaw, John is going to be joining with them. Would you give the same advice to those people that they should be running with the PPM as you're giving to the Honorable Minister this morning?
Well, John, we all know what he about. So honestly, only God can help him, right? But Miss Donna, I mean, I know Miss Donna, and I honestly think she's a good person, right? I would say the same to her and to anybody else who joined in them, because at the end of the day, no matter who join them, the guys that have been there the longest, they have the ultimate sway. John, Joey, you and all them, right? And we all know, even though Alden and Roy McTabbert decide that they're not running no more, whatever, they still gotta be pulling little strings from the background. You know? So in my opinion, like I say, PPM altogether, that whole thing just needs to get dissolved. Just get rid of it altogether.
Wow.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a wow. Obviously, they have a lot of work to do, some brand changing, but
beyond.
Sandra,
yes, sir.
Here's a question that I asked, because this is good reflection for me. So thank you so much for all the callers giving me their viewpoints. I really, really appreciate this a lot, because obviously this is a big decision for me, for my committee and my constituency.
Minister?
I just want to ask you a question first, if that's okay. So the question was, do people think I can go in and change the PPM? Do you think that I have a strong enough character? Do you believe me enough to go in and reform that organization to get the good stuff and leave out the bad stuff? That's the question I'm asking.
Well, people don't think you should be joining the PPM at all, but I want to read some of the comments, but we'll do 2 quick calls before we get to some of the comments. But the one question that is repeatedly coming up is, did you actually consult with, people are wondering this, they're like, did he actually consult with his constituents or his committee? Because there's no way his committee could have advised him that this was a good idea. Did you consult with anybody? I know you said you did, but I'm just trying to confirm here.
I did. I did it from around, because you know, from the whole leaving of the 4 members, I had to start thinking about, well, what am I going to do in the future? Because it's not like we had a government to run together on, so I had to start thinking about that question from a long time ago. And then obviously by then I knew about the National Party had a candidate running against me. I had whispers that the CCP was going to get a candidate. So from Christmas, I had an opportunity to go, I need to start thinking about it. So my committee and I, even throughout Christmas, when we did our rounds and stuff, we touched base as well. You know, what are your thoughts? Do I run again by myself? Do I run with a party? And if I run with a party, which party? And I must say that the feedback wasn't the greatest in the world in respect to the progressives. But people understand the logic behind running with a group, because in order to stop the instability that happened in the last 4 years, they don't want that. So I say to myself, I say to my constituents, so how do I give you a cohesive, unified approach if I'm not with a group? And most people said, well, Kenneth, run and then join the PPM afterwards. And then I said, well, what would be the difference? And there is an emotional damage that was caused by the progressives over past decisions, ones that I can't take responsibility for. But what I can take responsibility for is going forward, promising you that any organization that I'm going to be a part of is going to be held to account, do what they say, and they're going to do it and protect the Cayman people. Because if not, I'm not going to be a part of it. Now, I've sat with the leader of the progressives and looked him straight in the eye and said, listen, I've worked really hard. The people of Georgetown have given me their trust. Me coming over to your group means that I have to be able to commit and give that commitment to them. And it's time that they've said what they've said and be able to prove that to the people. So I personally believe the progressives deserve another chance, particularly with the fact that I will be there with them. And I hope in a very prominent position. So let's see what Colin says on Saturday and go from there,
What a hot mess. Caller, I think we got two callers. Let me see who was up first. Ending in 5064. You're first, please.
Yeah, good morning, Premier Kenneth Bryan. Good morning.
Morning, dear.
Good morning, sir.
I would have saying like, so I didn't do that. You're running with PPM. I might have no issue with that. Who you run with, I just think, basically, in your opinion, you believe you could have won without them? Just see?
I believe so.
So what the first cardinal rule as a politician champion
is to win.
Okay, so I just want to get that point here. Next question, next statement I want to make with the manifesto. So a lot of politicians are going to drop up their manifesto. What they're going to do for Cayman, what they're going to do for us. We the people now need to use common sense without getting intellect. A man do a manifesto, he's going to do this for Cayman. When the guy get into politics, preaching that kind of get him say that can't work. They get a report from the APMG that can't work. So all of that, people put doing this manifesto, this is do the intention what they're going to do, but I don't know guarantee that don't happen either. So we need to be more like none of them are getting expertise if that's possible. Remember the time when Evan Miller started build a hospital, moved to they're gonna be a brand new hospital, and when you look, that turned into Fairbank. Remember that? So I'm saying we just have to be more the manifestos is there. We need to examine it and see if it's possible and understand that not every manifesto is going to happen either, because when you go in there and you get advice that can't go so no money that for that or that can't happen. Immigration reform, when we get back to that, legality, constitution, all kind of different angles. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Making a statement. All
right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
Next caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Good morning, dear.
I'm surprised, Mr. Minister, because you say that we have to give PPM another chance. How many chances do we have to give them? Because I do recall we give them so many chances. Our country, we cannot even get housing for our Caymanians. We're not talking about high, low class. We're talking about the medium, higher end class cannot even get proper housing. We have to compete not only with the Cayman status holders, and yes, that's fine, but we have to compete with foreigners who haven't even stepped on our land, not even keen to our country. They're getting jobs in the comfort of their country to come, and they get all it's paid to come and get a job. They also get a land and property without even visiting our islands. Are you telling me now, because the progressives has been there for years, they have implemented some of these policies. They have apparently revamped some of these policies that they claim that are not working. Well, guess who is to blame? You, PPM. And people tend to forget. Have we not forgotten that they have actually proposed that they wanted the population of Cayman to reach in the 100,000s? Have people forgotten that? We are not even near the 100,000. We are already suffering. Ask the people who come in from the eastern districts how much time they spend in traffic. What quality of life is that? What quality of life are we offering our people? Quality of life for those who are not from here. The expats are perfect. They're enjoying their Camana Bay area. They're enjoying their 7 Mile Beach. They love the beach. They have an awesome time. What at the backs of your people. And you, Kenneth, minister, I would rather see your poster in every single corner than to have to know that you're part of the PPM. Because they are not for the people. They're for themselves. And they have proven to us so many times. So don't you tell us to give them a second chance. We've given them so many chances. We've given them so many chances. And as a mother, I refuse to have my children have to face the future of Cayman under the hands of the PPM. That's all I have to say.
Wow. All right. Let me try to get to some of the.
Let me just thank the caller first, because it takes a lot to call into any show and express your viewpoints. So regardless of the viewpoints, I want to say thank you so much for calling in, because it takes a lot to give your emotional feeling about politics. So I thank you for that.
And I want to try to get through some of the comments, but we have so many callers calling in. Somebody said, please give that a kaboom. No more chances for the PPM. Caller, brief comment or question, and then I'm going to read some of the other ones that are coming in. Morning, dear.
Morning. Again, Honorable Kenneth Bryan. I'll put some respect on it.
Yes, ma'am.
They're correct. They are correct. It's Elizabeth again. You asked the question, Kenneth, do we think that you have the ability, the character, the strength to change the PPM? I will pose this question to you, right? If that's the case, and if that's what your intentions are, then you're basically alone anyways. If that's the mentality, then you're basically alone within the PPM. So stay by yourself, stay independent. And I have one more question for you, sir. Do you believe that the opposition has a key role in how a government and how a country functions? Because
I agree. I did definitely.
I will tell you what, I think what your people are saying to you now, Kenneth, they would much rather you be on the opposition than be running a government with PPM. Because the opposition has a key role to play. The PPM didn't, in my opinion, play it very well. But I think the people are telling you they'd rather you be on the opposition or the backbench than be with PPM. Thank you, sir.
That is one thing that is patently clear this morning. Let's get to some of the questions and comments coming in. My apologies. It is fast and furious. We're pushing 900 people now, over 858 people. So let me see what I can do as quickly as possible. Sorry to the commenters. El Boogie says, nope, another delusional thought. Liana says, you cannot train old dogs with new tricks. Lucky Body says no, because the PPM are corrupt. D says nope. K. Jean Warren says no, KB, you're outnumbered. Strong Wilt says kaboom to that caller. I don't even know which caller that was. He did consult with some. I can attest to that. Another person said they believe that you just consulted with, hold on, let me read this one. They said Kenneth consulted with Moose and Omeria Gordon from his committee, and they didn't feel like that was enough. Kimberly Ebank says clarity and accountability is required. Sustainable Cayman, can you promise Georgetown 5-acre NHDT development site to get done in the next term for Sustainable Cayman community housing?
That sounds doable.
Yeah, K-Jean says they're not KB. They align with the PPM, but KB doesn't. Just trying to get to some comments, callers. Give me a couple minutes to dedicate some time to them. Melissa says, if you are for the people, please hear us. It sounds like your people are unified for you to not join the PPM. Voyager says, where is Mr. Holy Hugh? How come he isn't on here with you? He thinks he's too good to show up and talk with the common people. Lord Jesus.
I don't think that, hold on one second. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair, because I understand the viewpoint, because he's not here with me today, but we organize this, me and Sandra, because I'm accountable to my people, me. Nobody has to defend me, but he's also on another show right now. So, but I think he has to come on to Sandra's show, because your listeners deserve to hear from him. So I trust that he will come on the show. So but it's not because he doesn't want to be
I
here
don't know
with
if
me.
you sound like you trying to perform miracles, Mr. Boy, you got a tall order, but
No, but I as
know why he's
as
not
the
coming
leader
on. I'll
that
tell you in a second.
as the leader of the group that I will be a part of, he has to come on the show because though we may not always agree with viewpoints, Sandra, you have a following, and that following deserves to hear from the people who want to be leaders. And that's just a simple fact. Even though me and you have had challenges, I've never been afraid to come on and be held accountable, and I expect that of my peers, regardless. So he has to come on the show at some point.
875 people listening on the live stream. And I'm going to answer that question about why I doubt he'll come on. But Magdalene says, as a PPM member, will he appear in CMR again? Because PPM is afraid of the questions that CMR audience bring. And I think he just answered that I guess he will continue to come on. Morning, Miss Roxy. Damien says, every animal in Cayman on the endangered list is protected except the human Caymanians. We needed immigration WRC reform from 20 years ago. Morning, Miss Sonia. Voyager says, I pray that Carmen is elected. It's time for change. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Irvelin says, run it as an independent, then decide where you're going to go after the win, because for sure your people will vote for you, but don't let your people down, sir. So again, give me 1 second to our callers, just trying to get to some of the comments. Donna Richard says, the strength should come from someone in the House. Their decision and all things bring to the floor is supposed to be agreed on because it is good for the people in the country, and not just be agreed on because you're a group. People are tired of yes men and need representatives who vote correctly, no matter which group you belong to. Good morning, Miss Darlene. Don't do it, says Island Pearl. Don't do it. Dee Dee says that only proves that all elected members are not for the people and the country on the whole, but for their own political gain. Why would they prevent things being done just because they're not part of a particular party? This is what is mashing up our country. Magdalene says, I see some PPM members here. How come they're not following their leader on Radio Cayman? Because they want to be where everybody else is and getting the real news. Jamila says, mix up. James,
Can I ask you a question? I think I think Elizabeth said so about the importance of opposition. I mean, like I believe that the people want me to be in a position to be at the table where the decisions are made to make the fundamental changes. But I'm still challenged by the fact of, if it is perceived that, okay, yes, I'll win my seat, but I could potentially end up in the opposition, not having any say at the table where the changes need to be made. We probably have to reform immigration. We probably have to build more houses for Caymanians. We probably got to get jobs for Caymanians. We probably got to bring down the cost of living. How do I do that in the opposition? Now, granted, if all of my people in Georgetown Central said, listen, Kenneth, I do not care. I want you, even if it means you're in opposition, I'm here to represent my people. But the more I talk to the people said, yes, I want you in power to be able to address those issues collectively with a group. And what do we say about the fact that there's other groups who are doing exactly the same thing, coming together with people to take that approach? And I'm trying to do that for people of Georgetown Central and the Greater Cayman Islands as a whole. How do I?
The short answer is, Kenneth, and I'm sad that you kind of missed this, I guess, before today, but the short and resounding answer is at least 80% of the people in our poll so far feel like the PPM is just the wrong party. And it's a fundamental issue, not even about you per se as a candidate, but about you then joining the PPM, and the people do not have any faith whatsoever in the PPM. So keep listening to the comments, and I think you'll understand what people are saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Please ask him why he's spending so much money on the park revitalization. Money could be better spent. Caymanians can't sleep in a park or on the waterfront. Don't answer it, Kenneth, because we're going to come back to that in another show. Kayla says PPM just knows that Kenneth's track record when it comes to being successfully elected on his own. They're using him to secure a seat and project some kind of change in the party. Damien says, so what has everyone else done that is not PPM? Marshall says PPM hasn't done anything good for the people of Cayman in all the years that they've been in play. Darlene, we need change. Tired of the short change now. Give others of our Caymanian a chance. Term limits 4 years, the way it should be. Only be 2 years by now. Spot on, says Kayla, says Dee Dee. We don't need no PPM to bring more doom and gloom to these islands, says El Boogie. Please spare us generational Caymanians for once. Just once, think about the future of our people. Salvin, a PPM member, says, Sandra, you seem to be looking for a got you moment. These questions about 3 accomplishments and manifesto is looking for a got W moment. Salvin, take a seat in the back of the classroom, please. El Boogie says they had years and accomplished nothing. And why are we in this situation, outnumbered and disrespected in our own country? And why we are in the situation, sorry. Voyager says, so you were campaigning and getting these things done. And when you don't get them done, you blame everyone else, like you did yesterday on Austin show. Better mind, Shaggy, don't sue you for copyright. Oh, Lord have mercy. Miss Darlene says, this one local know what time it is. Them got to come good to try to fool me. Sorry, Miss Darlene. Morning, Miss Alba. Buenos dias. Philip says, seriously, a bunch of excuses. PPM should have been the first party to come out with a manifesto. They've been the longest serving party. Sorry, no excuses allowed. Sadie says, that's the worst thing to put your trust in is people. Barbara G says, personally, I don't believe that joining this party is a mistake. I do believe, that joining this party is a mistake, but that's only my opinion. Irvlyn seems shocked. She's like, wow. OMG says D. Wow, this is deep, says Tammy. Protect the voter at all costs. Mankind says, look at how the matter was dealt with Beth McField at the port when she is a born Caymanian doing good for our people. El Boogie says, amen, caller. It's too much on point. Too much sense right now. Y'all making too much sense. Darlene says, is there something called political suicide? What a heat. Darlene, yes, I read that one. Sorry. Trying to get through. There's so many. Andrew says, trust God, even if you feel alone. At least she understands that PPM is all lies, says John LaRue. Ellard Miles says, Kenneth, which ministry would you be requesting if successful? Please, K. Lee PPM, says Roar Cayman. That's a disheartened KB supporter. Disheartened. Okay. All right, we're gonna skip that question. We're just trying to get to some of the comments. Very Pat says it's obvious that Mr. Bryan did not consult his constituents before making this decision. D said, read more questions. I'm trying, D. Sadie says, well, as we all can see, they do it for the money. Salvin says the caller must know that the minister's action is in response to and as a result of the present state of the political landscape. Dacia says, totally agree with the caller. Anything PPM is a no for me, says Lucky Body. John LaRue says he's joining the PPM to help his cause. Boogie says, well, your seat gone. And if not this time, surely the next time. Enjoy it while it lasts. Lord Jesus. Irvelin, he needs to remember the people put him there and he can't disappoint them like that. Very Pat says PPM is setting Kenneth up. Remember what they did to Mr. Archer. Snaps. Gabby says, so basically you don't care about the opinion. You just join. You did fine all by yourself. Why now? Allard says tone deaf to the voters, just like the Democrats, and look at the total loss they got at the polls. Lucky Body says it's all about the money and never the people. Gabby says PPM don't work for the people. They work for themselves and their best interests, not the Caymanian people. Mr. Roy, quick comment or question, please.
Okay, thank you. I happen to agree with some of those comments that you just read. I don't follow Cayman politics intimately, and I don't like to talk about something that I don't know about. But it seems to me, and I may be wrong, that the particular skill set of politicians is their public speaking abilities. And in my line of work, that's what I do. And I'm a better talker. I mean, I'm a better listener than I am a talker. Everything I know.
All right.
Everything I can do, I learned from somebody else because I learned how to listen. Okay. Your question to me?
No, you called in with a question or comment. Do you not have?
Okay. So there's a particular store that I go to here in West Bay. And the owner of that particular store, which I told you privately, is going to run for public office. So he said, Roy, you know, he's like me. He grew up in New York, but we're 10 years apart. So we weren't at the same place at the same time, but the same neighborhood.
Okay.
Just a couple of blocks away. And he said, you know, Roy, your vote would go a long way. Your endorsement would go a long way. You're pretty well known in the West Bay community. So I said, you know, I don't play that game, but I'll tell you what. I don't want any favors. I don't want a pack of cigarettes. I'm going to ask you a trivia question. And if you can answer it, I'll vote for you. He couldn't answer it. But one part of it was this guy who's playing a gangster says, what do you think I'm here to amuse you? Funny how. So at the end, I said to this particular store owner, I said, you know, you're a pretty funny guy. He said, do you think I'm here to amuse you? I said, that's what I like. I'll be there, man. Okay.
Okay. WTF. Leroy says the Cayman Corruption Party. Melissa says, KB, you're known by the company that you keep. Veer says, not as long as you're with the PPM, you know they do not believe you deserve to be in Parliament. K. Jean says, Minister Bryan, what's the reasoning for joining forces if you've been successful as an independent previously? He's answered that. Irvelin says, big time, they're only using him to get in. They won't agree with his principles. Callie says, boy, the electorate, just the average people that vote don't understand party politics. I'm in awe. How do people get anything done? It's not the old constitution, people, so you can't do it alone, OMG. Well, it sounds like to me that they'd rather see Kenneth sitting on the back bench than with the PPM, truth be told. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what I think they're saying.
That's what they're saying. Tanya says PPM party was never good for Cayman. They never was the people, was for the people, these islands, putting them in is committing political suicide. It's better to be independent and assist in forming a coalition government. Rena says,
Sandra, if we can, because we're doing a lot of the comments, but I think we have to analyze it so we can learn together. We're in a classroom, like you said, right? So let's get to the front of the class. So let's talk about that, because yes, that's a decision that I thought about to say, okay, Kenneth, let's say, for instance, you win your seat, but you end up in opposition. Like Elizabeth said, being a member of the opposition is a vital role because it's holding people accountable. But if I'm promising the people or trying to give that commitment to say, I want to address these issues, and I see the path is one of being in opposition, I can't get those things done. I'm still confused that people want me would rather me in opposition than be with them. I can understand their viewpoint on past behaviors of the old progressives, but I try to
they don't
rationalize it to say
progressives 4.0 is not connecting with the people. But let me say this, the Honorable Minister Kenneth Bryan. I think the point is being missed by quite a few people here, right? Trust in politics is fundamental to even getting elected in the first instance. And so this comes down to an issue of trust. And I can assure you, we have almost 900 people now in the live stream. I can assure you that a person can be effective even on the backbench. I'm effective and I'm not even in politics. I'm not even a politician.
True.
We got 4 callers on the line. Callers, we're going to go back to you now. First of all, let's start with 6750. Try to make it as brief as possible. Question or comment, please.
Morning, a comment.
Morning, dear. Yes, ma'am.
I just have to say that can it go into a party that can't even show up. Me being a voter in Georgetown North, I don't even see Joey.
Damn.
Last year at the renaming of the school, Kenneth did that. Joey wasn't there. Kenneth at the sports day giving out medals. Joey wasn't there. And this is how we feel in Georgetown North.
And you're a North voter.
And we're not voter, and we don't see Joey.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much, caller. All right. And, to her point, he was supposed to be the leader. So you would have thought surely that he would be trying to, ahead of the election, set himself up because everybody knew that he was next in line. All right. Caller 2502. Good morning. Question or comment?
Morning again. I'm sorry.
Hello,
this is the last one. Please, Kenneth, Honorable Kenneth. Okay, let me just put this scenario to you, right?
Jesus.
You're on the opposition. Hold on, you're on the opposition, and you bring a bill that you know the people want, say immigration reform, and the government of the day. Because you can bring bills from the opposition, correct?
No, you can bring motions that suggest bills. There is a provision to bring a bill, but it's very, very difficult. It hasn't happened in Cayman's history yet.
If you bring a motion, right? If you bring a motion that the people clearly want, and the government shoots it down, who look bad and who not getting in the next time, and then maybe in the next 4 years you'll be in a position. Maybe in the next 4 years you'll be in a position to make change. But the opposition plays a crucial role.
All right, thank you.
Bring a motion, make them look bad.
Well, you see, Elizabeth, if I can just answer that, Sandra, the truth is, the challenge that I had is, can the people wait another 4 years? And I don't think they can. There's so much suffering in Cayman. We got to deal with immigration. We got to deal with traffic. I mean,
right here on CMR. Thank you, caller. Next caller up, 6923. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Quick question or comment?
Morning, Sandra. Good morning. This is the comment. Good morning to my friend Keno. This is Roman of the West Bay.
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Morning. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You interviewed me in 2009 when I was running for election. Mr.
Yes,
Kenneth.
I remember when I was a reporter. Yeah.
Good. All right, quickly, I'll just call you Keno so you will know that you are one of the regular old boys, okay?
That's right. That's right. Go ahead, sir.
Good. So listen now. What I want to say now is that your comment that you made or the speech you made when that guy was calling Cayman riffraff. Now I know that he's a real Caymanian. I certainly have maximum respect for you. And another thing before I get off there, I want you to know how much is appreciated that you took the initiative to bring the motion that was passed to give the seamen a raise now to $250. That is so much. I don't know who else is calling in, but I want you to know, not because of the money, but because of the interest you had in the seamen. Thank you so much. And my advice to you, think before you leap about joining parties. You're doing an excellent job, so keep it up, sir. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Next caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Question or
Good
comment?
morning to you and the panel and Mr.
Good
Kenneth
morning,
Bryan.
my dear.
I have a question, and this is from an expert who cares. Why? Why is it? And before I go, this comment. I remember Mr. Bryan when he was a young reporter, facing the issues that the people that he's representing facing now. So here's my question: why is it that for the past 4 or 20 years or so that I've been here, every election we have candidates running to fix the same issues that we're trying to fix today? Why? That is the number one issue and point that we should look at the election Cayman, what we can do for the indigenous Cayman people. Listen, the politicians before lost your young Caymanians then, and the ones now are doing the same thing. So the problems you're having now with young people and the problem young people are having, you will have it another 10, 15, 20 years down the line if you don't nip it right now. Everyone has a chance to do something to fix it. And it's not about the majority who are expats like myself. It's about your Caymanian child that's coming out of John Gray or Cliff at the end of July every summer. The ones who don't get to university, the ones that you put in SciFec with no way out but going to SciFec, and when they're done, they're just done. We're losing them.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Do something. Have a good one.
All right, folks. 907 people now on the live stream. I did see Mr. Belika. Let's see if we can give him a quick call. He was actually calling, but we can't mix WhatsApp calls and straight calls. So we had 4 on the straight calling, and then Mr. Belika was trying to call as well. My apologies, sir. Gabby says
I came back on the camera because some people were
moving around or something.
Yeah.
So Gabby says Jesus himself. Mr. Belika, turn your radio down.
Okay, yeah, because you do. Yes, okay.
Morning, Belika. How you doing, my brother?
Gabby says Jesus himself.
Good morning, thanks. You see,
I can still
sometimes
hear
I have
some
to juggle
feedback.
my Canada phone and my Cayman phone. You see, so and then it's on the computer as well. So
yes, you got to turn it down.
Am I on now?
Yeah, but I'm still hearing feedback, so it's still playing somewhere for you. So try to identify that.
I can't hear anything.
All right, call back. Disconnect something because maybe it's actually on his phone. Gabby says Jesus could appear in his red, white, and blue slippers holding a PPM sign. I still wouldn't vote for them. Lord Jesus. I mean, no pun intended. And my apologies, folks. I am having a little bit of sustenance this morning because this show's so hot. Y'all made me hungry. So big shout out to Miss Stacy. We got some nice ackee and salt fish in the house with one little dumpling to go with it. Strong Will says Sandy, PPM are not for the poor people. They only look out for the rich and famous. You know, there's a nice burger at 7 Mile Burger called Rich and Famous. Go check it out. But point taken. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I had to throw away my computer because, you know, that's the only way I solve the problem.
My God.
Kenneth, good morning again. You see, Kenneth.
Good morning, big brother. Good morning.
Good morning. You know, Kenneth, I know sometimes when you praise somebody, then they become a target. In my view, in this government, as well as in the last one, the tax government, you are the one minister who has been most engaged in talking to the people, and you are one minister who people got to trust a lot because of the immigration issue and a lot of other things that you have done. The dilemma you are facing is the same dilemma people are facing. Because there is a problem, I think perhaps if you run on your own, you feel maybe you might not win. But at the same time, if you run with the PPM won't help you with immigration reform. They came in 2004 on the basis basically of immigration. They accused the former government of having to, well, not accused, but it gave a lot of status to people, okay? And then they came in basically on that issue. PPM won one election, the big one, on the basis they said that, you see, because of immigration. What have they done in 20 years? Absolutely nothing. And people right now are clamoring for immigration. And I think what your people are telling you is, do you expect now that if you go back to them, that they will effective immigration reform? It's a problem. Let me close by saying the problem in Cayman is need for accountability. It is just very difficult for people to see that things are accountable. I know it was a difficult question for you. All I can do, Kenneth, is I can acknowledge the dilemma you are facing. Is the dilemma people are facing. At the end, I think constitutional reform is important, and I'm involved with a number of people now who are starting to work out some system of constitutional reform to ensure that the cabinet is accountable and that people like you can have an effect in the government. I thank you.
Let me ask you one quick question, Mr. Belika. I don't know if you voted in the poll yet, but have you been taken aback by the degree of how people are feeling, the extent, I should say, of how people are feeling about this move today? I must say, I have been taken aback.
Well, you know what? I've been taken aback by this because I just didn't think that there was going to be this backlash so much, you know, about but you see, you go to PPM. But when you think of it, it's because these people are very discerning. They have seen with 20 years that nothing has been done. And you get, I was looking at a poll, right? The poll about who do you want to be premier.
on another channel, and the one who is at the top is Andre Ebanks. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yeah, exactly. And then Dan Scott is a close second, and then Joey Hugh is actually a distant third. And to me, that is also saying what these people are saying. They don't want the PPM. The PPM is not popular. That's why even Joey Hugh is polling very low on that scale. So.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. 80% of the people in our poll this morning have said no to Kenneth joining the PPM. Let me read a few more comments. Some people said, please give that caller kaboom. El Rey says, this man always speaks so much sense. Yes, he does. Thank you, Mr. Belika. Salvin gets a response from Philip, who says, I hate to tell you this, but you can't control what the voters will say. There are 55 people watching Joey and Radio Cayman and hardly anyone commenting or anyone calling in. That speaks volumes. Snaps. Thank you, Philip. I wasn't even checking their numbers today, to be honest, but somebody else did tell me that earlier as well, that they had a very small number. Now, I don't know what the percentage increase is, but 900 and odd versus 55, simply no competition there. Someone said, yes, we are wide awake now, says Elizabeth. Sandy, PPM are not for the poor people. Okay, I think I read that one already. Miss Jean said it's 96 degrees in the shade, but hot on PPM. I saw it somewhere. I can't remember now.
I gotta love your listeners, man. Your listeners are just so entertaining. I really like your followers. They're on point.
96 degrees in the shade and CMR real hot. Yes, sir, honey child. It is called scapegoat monkey wrench time, says Miss Darlene. Miss K says, Minister Bryan, what is your stance on single member constituencies, and would changing this be something that you'd be willing to pursue at the
100%.
end of
100%.
Who gets in the whole country? So you're proponent of changing it back to what it was?
Yeah, I think we try to fix something that wasn't broken, and particularly when because our population, our economy is growing so fast, with some disadvantages and advantages, that the change is just too much too quickly. And I think what we had with the multi-member constituency was working. I think the accountability factor could still have been held back then with multi-member. And I think most people feel that way.
In under the multi-member system. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true.
You know,
true. But I tell you what, the common consensus is, though, that most people don't like the current system because it's divisive.
But I think if we did a deep dive, that's not what the issue is. But anyway, that's a whole other
You're
discussion.
right.
Jesse says PPM was in power when the majority of these massive development projects are approved. How has that benefited the voters? Thank you, Jesse. Gabby says, to be honest, I think the only reason why PPM would want anything to do with Bryan is to probably use him for WE. They have up their sleeve. Oh, for whatever. Okay. Y'all speaking in acronyms. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Island Girl says, I'm one of your constituents. Please do not join the PPM. Get in on your own like you did before, and then work with who's selected, come together to do what's best.
So let's examine that one a little bit. So let's say hypothetically April or May 1st comes, I'm elected, and there is people from the CCP or the National Party are in. With them running a candidate against me, what do you see the possibilities of me being a part of a government?
Well, all I know
I know some people have said they're happy with me being in opposition, but say again?
You'd have to humble yourself and go talk to them. Nothing's impossible.
Yeah, of course not. I'm willing to work with whoever just to make sure that we get the things done for our people. But to have a decision on pre-deciding what the things you're going to fight for is what I'm thinking. And I thought this was the better way to approach politics, so you can actually complete what you said. Yeah.
Caller, good morning, honey child.
Good morning, Sandra. Calling back again.
Yes, ma'am.
Just for FYI for Mr. Kenneth Bryan. As I
Yes,
said,
ma'am.
he's not a young Caymanian, but I would like to ask a question. Did he consult with his constituents of Georgetown Central to join the PPM, or he just took it as
he
his
answered this
invitation?
question already. He did say that he
I can answer it again, though. I can answer it again because it's deserving to answer a second time. I did consult, not with every single soul. I wish I did have the time, but there's
CMR, we could have done a poll for you.
true.
Before you made your decision.
But I think the answer would have to come from my constituents. And though I appreciate the many viewers you have from all over Cayman and all over the world, I think I would have to do a poll for my people, because there's some people in my constituency who said, Kenneth, I understand the logic. In order for you to actually fundamentally change these things, you need to have be a part of a bigger picture. So there is that view, and many of them are not going to come on the show and say that. So, but yes, you're right. I haven't polled every single person. I think I did about 100 or so. Plus, I talked to my committee, and I can't say that my committee was happy about the decision, but we all decided together and looked at it and said, listen, what is our end goal here? It's not about only getting elected, because if that was the end goal, I would have just stayed as an independent. I'm trying to be mature about this. I want to say, I need to be able to confidently say, I want to get something done for my people. And you can't do that alone. Of course, I'll have God on my side. As the previous caller said, I'm not walking alone in that respect. But you can't walk alone with no other candidates with you. And then you have the other part, which is the public perception of instability with having so many different people as a part of a government, which created a lot of the chaos of the last 4 years. So we analyzed that and said, at the end of the day, we want to get fundamental changes for our people, and you have to go that as a collective. Now,
all right, well, 81% of the general population, which would include Georgetown Central voters, have said no. KJ says, if you're going to analyze, review the average sentiment of the comments, it's established where the people stand. Good morning, caller.
Agreed.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, morning. Yes, sir.
There's Speaker Rambo here.
Morning, Sir Rambo.
Morning, Rambo. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, can you hear me Monday morning? You want to OC? You hear me right?
Monday? Yes, I remember.
Yeah, okay then. OC, so can it, first of all, all right, you're 4 years older than me. I fought the money, you fought the power in the corner, right? And can it, hit the beat down. I voted every election for 2005, right? And on the ground, can it, a lot of people have a lot of invoking a petition for God, call for God, implore for change and support, whatever they soliciting this election. Okay? And can it start like my best they were talking recently? And talking CBC about probably statistically a quarter to 1/3 making show the vote now. It's a possibility. Right? I know not say you can't predict that, but that's a possible pipeline. But you know, can it in the Sandra? Like my purview of scope and litigation, like first of all, I understand the very cognizance of authority. So that's a purview of it. And the relevance and the logic, right, is equivalent to the vulnerability. First of all, anybody running for an election, as a fact, they are the subordinate. Right? They are subservient. Okay, that's what I said of it. So they're reserved. So let's get the point now.
Yeah, try to get to the point for sure.
You listen, the whole economy, right? You don't know and learn how to think, right? That's possible. And that's the whole ideology of differentiating. So like when it comes to the party system, right? It's a machinery. Right? Some people getting, right? Hugh Thomason, back in 2007 election, he endorsed about 12 other candidates. Okay? And majority of independents. So this election though, you gotta be careful. First of all though, everybody know I'm the hardest supporter. Depends the morning I wake up to vote. You understand? So can you hear me on the morning with you show? Okay?
All right, thank you so much,
my brother.
All right, folks.
Thank you so much, Rambo.
Island Pearl says, well, I certainly would like to do a poll because I want the people of Georgetown Central to have their voice heard. Trust me when I say many people going around, if he joins PPM, they are not going to vote for him. 81% in our poll. And again, we have it locked down because y'all wasn't being honest with the port. We're going to redo the port question. So y'all can spend money on finding another polling system where I can lock it by IP address. I can put security measures in place. Lock it by IP address. double voting. And also I can turn it where you cannot vote from a VPN to eliminate double voting. So this is the most scientific poll that we can possibly get on island with those types of restrictions. Shane Ebanks, morning, sir, says consensus is apparently that he is sold out and they're sad because he can't do it alone. Who is the quitter? Let me ask you a question. One of our callers said this, and then we're going to get to some of the WhatsApp comments and questions. That person said, what if you're the only person elected for PPM? Because your logic is, I can't do anything if I'm not part of a party. Based on the sentiment today, PPM, most of their candidates are simply not getting in. So they're not going to get enough to form a government is the short leap that I can make. So if you're one of the few PPM members that get in and you still don't form a party, you're behind still in the back bench, sir, with all due respect.
Yeah. There's truth to that. I can't deny that. I mean, is whether or not you think that the Progressives members that are going to run will have enough to make up the government. And I think as I see the landscape, I think that the members that they have on the team, I think the Progressives have the best chance of getting the majority numbers. That's my opinion. Remember, now it's an opinion. So, I mean, the people have the decision to make. It's for the people to make. But if you look at some of the candidates, I think the Honorable Joseph Hugh is going to win his seat in Georgetown North. I hope the good people of Georgetown Central continue to trust me and believe in me and put me back. I think Roy McTaggart has a very strong chance of winning back his seat. I mean, there's fundamental people who are part of the party that are strong candidates. And I'm not going to go through the whole list of everybody today, but
they probably don't have anybody else. But your point is taken that PPM has historically remained strong in Georgetown. So you're thinking that maybe they'll hold their seats in Georgetown. But we know they're going to lose seats because some people have left now, such as Barbara and her constituency. Alric would probably most likely take that seat. And the one for where David White was, maybe a little bit of a toss-up. Craig Nairn might get in. And so, yes, Joey may get his seat back depending on who runs against him. Nobody has come out as yet. They've got until Monday now, folks. And then Mr. Roy McTaggart, maybe, because I think last time Emily Ducoup did decent against him. So we'll see.
I think you should check the numbers on that one. I vote in Georgetown East. I live in Georgetown East, just on the outside of just on the outside of Georgetown Central. But if you go back and look at the numbers and the figures, and we can always do this analysis, but I think on March 3rd, when you see all the landscape and you look at the probabilities of who are more likely to win back their seat, I am of the view that the Progressives will be in the leading position in respect to forming the government. And that's another reason why it'd be good to be a part of something that can actually go ahead and deliver what they say they want to deliver. Because the truth is, if you're saying that, oh, these are the things we want to get done, but you're not collectively with the part of the government to get them done, then what do, right? But I get the point. I get the viewpoints. I want to really say thank you so much for everybody who's been calling in. I'm not finished or anything like that, but it's so good to have this engagement. This is really good.
All right. This person said at this point for Georgetown West, I would jump off the mountain and vote for Hunter as a last resort than PPM. Lord Jesus. No, sir. Perlina is going Georgetown West for PPM. Oh, we're going to get into, listen, nomination day. We're going to do the polls. Once they're nominated, we're going to say, who would you vote for at this present time? And we're going to do some real live polls on Monday. So make sure you tune in for Monday's show. All right, Honorable Minister, let's get to some of these comments now. This one says, please tell Kenneth that it was the PPM in 2013 that made us get to this population now. We don't want PPM again. They changed immigration law and made people be able to apply for PR and then status. We're going to just do a quick fire in these. Good morning. We have short memories. Remember the TLAPs? First thing PPM did when they took office, I, for one, will not be voting for any PPM, Poor People's Mistake candidate. You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. Ooh, honey chill.
Sandra, you love the mix-up, boy. You love mix-up. You get so much joy out of that.
I love the truth, and if the truth is a little mix-up, then it is what it is. Good morning, Ma. Please ask if anyone is going to address the visa system for Jamaica because it's on its side. Jamaican children up to 14 plus and elder persons can come up to 71 plus without a visa. But on our side, if we're going to Jamaica, we need a visa for an infant. They're the only country that's making money from it. Anonymous, please. Kenneth is a pick me, and his return to the progressives just solidifies his MO, which is that he will do whatever is politically expedient for himself. His adherence to collective responsibility is dependent on whether it will keep him elected. You saw him publicly speaking out against his own government when Wayne Panton was the premier, but not a peep relating to the Brat School foolishness now that Juliana is premier, because he got to climb the ladder. The PPM is in the weakest position they've ever been, with 5 people retiring without a succession plan and possibly the lowest approval rating they've ever had. That's why they accepted him now. The alignment in ideology is that they will make him deputy again. Have they agreed to make you deputy premier and deputy of the party if you're elected with them?
No, there hasn't been an agreement. I think there's a nomination process that will happen on nomination day. I think that is Saturday, not nomination day, in the party conference. And I hope I'm nominated to be the deputy. I think that will give me more strength to have more say, to get those things that people are worried about that are not going to be done. So, no, there's not been an agreement. I hope to be nominated. I would like to. But I'm interested by the commenter or the author of the comment that suggests that I apologize, my dog just came up. Go ahead, Kobe, go back inside. Thank you.
We're dog friendly on this show. He can stay if he wants.
Yes, Kobe is a bit rambunctious. So the author of the comment was saying that I'm only doing this now to get reelected, when the truth and the fact is that the commenters are saying, stay by yourself, you have a better chance of being elected. So the viewpoints are kind of conflicting. I'm not sure if this author is being 100% genuine. I think there may be an ulterior motive there, which is fine. I get it. You're not going to get everybody on your side.
Minister, so it's quite clear, I think, what the general position is here today. Their conclusion might be, okay, they're thinking you want to do it to get elected, but the consensus here today is 81% of the people think you've made a mistake. This question says, I have a question, but don't post it due to where they work for Kenneth. When he was campaigning against Marco, he said that he wanted to eliminate or change the amount Caymanians had to pay for custom stamp duty imports. Now that he is a little bit more seasoned, can he say what made him change his mind with this campaign promise? And does he now understand why it's important to promise things that are tangible?
What was the top part? Read that again, because I can barely see. I'm looking for my phone.
You're campaigning against Marco Archer. He said that he wanted to eliminate or change the amount Caymanians had to pay for customs stamp duty for imports. Now that he's a little bit more seasoned, can he say what made him change his mind with that campaign promise? And does he now understand why it's important to promise things that are tangible?
Well, I do commit to things that are tangible, and the truth is, actually, that commitment was followed through. Because if the author of that would look back, even when I was in opposition, a motion was brought, and custom duties were reduced. So custom duties will be reduced on certain items. Sometimes they go back up. They got fuel costs they were reduced on. So over that 8-year period, I actually accomplished that goal. If the caller goes back, or the author of the comment goes back and check the history of the last 8 years, some of the customs duties have been reduced, also on stamp duty and housing. Now, whether it's enough, you can't eliminate the whole thing because the government will get no revenue at all. We don't have a direct taxation system. Most of our taxes come from stamp duties. So there has been reductions in certain areas, particularly feminine products, has been eliminated altogether. So I'm not sure if the author have checked the records to see that actually I was successful in that endeavor.
All right. Amy on Instagram says, I've lived in Georgetown North my entire life, and I've never met Joey Hugh. Again, going back to some issues that maybe the party itself needs to look at. Deandra says, Georgetown West is the worst place to have to vote in. Shaking my head. Come on out in Newlands, honey child. I'm kidding. All right. Next question.
Sandra, if I can say this real quick, because I think it's a learning opportunity for us.
Yes.
The larger and larger we get as a country, whether it takes us 100 years to get there or over the next 20, as we get bigger and bigger, there's going to be less possibility that you're going to see your candidates that often, because when I think about it, now my constituency has gone to almost 1,500. To get to every single one of them and talk to each and every single one of them for a good, reasonable period of time. If it's for 2 minutes, hi and bye, then yeah, I can possibly do that. But everybody's going to want quality sit-down time with their candidate. And the bigger our population gets,
undo one man, one vote, by the way.
Exactly. So my point is that we're moving from a society that was a lot smaller in our population. Just over the last 20 years, we were about 50,000, and candidates were able to get to almost every single voter. In other jurisdictions, that's a luxury they don't get. We probably see our voters more often than any other jurisdiction, because some other constituencies in other countries have a population of 1 million people. And a candidate won't be able to get to 1 million people. So that's why they come on platforms like this. That's why they have public meetings. That's why they disseminate their manifestos, because as much as we would love to, every candidate, and this is not only for me, this is for every candidate that is running. Every candidate will not get to every single person. Now, it's the goal is who can get to the most people and talk to them directly, which is it's a goal they should accomplish. But it's not as easy as you think, particularly as the country grows. So I'll leave that there.
All right. This next one came in after 9 o'clock, said that was a stupid comment Kenneth made. The PPM is not looking for change of any kind. He should have started his own party instead. What a bunch of shit he's chatting. He is bound by collective responsibility to any government he joins. So interesting.
The last part is a fact. You're bound to collective responsibility no matter what. So let's say, for instance, I go and I was to hypothetically join a national party.
Kenneth?
Huh?
Unless you're on the back bench, then you're bound to the people.
Correct. So, but then you won't be there to be able to make the decisions in cabinet that ultimately makes the change, right? So, but let's look at that point for a minute. Let's say I was joining the national party, and they wanted to do something that wasn't in liking for you. I would still be bound to collective responsibility there. Collective responsibility is going to be for any party, and this is going to be a situation. No matter which group that you're in, collective responsibility will hold the position regardless. But what you want is a collective group of people agreeing to do the same thing, so the probabilities of them all doing the same thing are real, as opposed to having a bunch of different views. Now, I saw another comment earlier in your passing that there is going to be most likely a coalition government of a little bit of everybody else, because of the fact that it doesn't seem like any one group is going to have the full majority. I believe that the Progressives is going to have the majority of the minority amongst the whole groups. I don't feel that the National Party is going to get as much as they think. I don't think the CCP is going to get as much as they think. And I think the Progressives are going to have the leading majority of the next formation of government. So that's just my personal view. I mean, a lot of
this morning, Kenneth, but all righty. I mean, the people are saying something different. But
okay.
All right, we'll see.
Well, here's the question. Here's the question I'll put back to you and the collective as a whole. Which group do you think is going to get the majority out of the three parties that are available, and what I guess would say is the independents?
We'll be in a better position to analyze it, because
fair enough.
Right now we don't even know exactly, who's running where and a few other little things. Yes. So
okay,
I'm saying let's wait until nomination day. All right. I'm going to do a quick refresh. Facebook is looking a little bit fuzzy for me. So give me 1 second, Honorable Minister. Let me just refresh our live stream, and we're going to pull. All right. I think is that any better? I was checking it over here and it was looking a little fuzzy. All right. So thank you for that. What's up comment? We've got some more coming in. This one earlier said, everyone has successfully voiced their opinion that Kenneth joining PPM is a big mistake. The problem that I have with Kenneth joining the PPM is that the PPM's track record, which is a very poor one, have demonstrated time and time again that they do not have the people and the needs of the country at heart. They're clearly diametrically opposed, nice word, to key issues that he has tried to make an impact on, such as immigration and social welfare. While I hear Kenneth saying that he can bring change to the PPM. He's been there before in multiple capacities and had no effect of changing the way they governed. He will be clearly outnumbered now. How will he bring real necessary change now that he's joined with the PPM, especially in immigration, that is critical to the trajectory of the country? Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So,
okay. So Sandy, I think it should be an opportunity for me to respond.
Yep.
I mean, I'm hearing the comments, but I want to be able to respond to them. So the question about what can I do, because I was a part of the progressives before, and I wasn't able to do fundamental change. And I think it's important to be examined what part I was back then. So when I ran with the progressives, I didn't win my seat. I was in 2013, and I was merely a political aide to the premier. I wasn't elected. I wasn't a part of the executive. So my voice wasn't as strong as it is today. When I ran in 2017, I was successful. I was not a part of their party, so I had no say in the behavior or the actions of their administration from 2017 to 2021. And then obviously we know from 2021 to today, I was a part of the administration. To say what effect I had in the PPM when I was with them, the answer is nil, because I wasn't there. I wasn't a part of the party in a sense of being an elected member and being at the top where the decision-making things will be done. But if I am elected again, and I am a part of a progressive government, I will be at the table. And I'm hoping that I am at the table in a very senior capacity to say, listen, guys, we have to do this on behalf of the people because they're calling for it and they demand it. And I know what the people are saying. Everybody who called on here today and had their opinions, they didn't do it in malice. They did it because the people want change, fundamental change, to ensure that Caymanians are first. And I'm still committed to that, no matter what group I'm with. Now, if the team that I'm a part of isn't in favor of that, Kenneth Bryan has no problem with going back to where he was before, because my top priority is the people of this country. Now, sometimes we don't always agree with, well, how do you get to the same destination that you want, which is prioritizing Caymanians? And that is where the maturity and diplomacy and ability to compromise about, okay, guys, let's get this together. Let's agree to a plan moving forward. And I believe I am stronger today because of the good people of Georgetown Central to have a say with the progressives to say, you want this strength, you want what we built together and the trust that I've earned from the people of the Cayman Islands to be a part of you. You need to trust me to say, this is what the people want, and we have to deliver that to them. Now, it's going to take a little while for me to convince the masses of that, and not only me. The other members need to come out and talk to the people and say, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Because I do believe that what is happening now is those new members, the new leader is unfortunately dealing with the past actions of 10 years ago and even 20 years ago progressives history. Now, that's a tall hill to climb, but you want to be a leader, that's what you have to do. You have to build trust, look at the people in their eye and convince them and persuade them that you are going to do that. I did that for 8 years and it wasn't easy, but the people believed because of my actions, my commitment, and you have to earn that trust. So we have 2 months to prove to the people that that's what we're going to do. And I want the people of Georgetown Central and the Greater Cayman Islands to continue to trust me as you always have done and believe that I'm committed, no matter what color I wear, to making sure that the things that I fight for and the people that I fight with are going to be committed to changing those things in your best interest. And I can only say that because that's my heart. And I have nothing else, Sandra. Okay. I don't have big money. I didn't come from a big name. I don't have no big family business. The only thing I have is my integrity. And that's what the people of Georgetown Central love me for. And I want them to know that will not change under no circumstances, period.
All right. So Allard Miles says, keeping it all in context, though, when someone appears on Fox News, they already know the audience that they will face. Same thing with CMR and its well-known anti-PPM position. Therefore, the truest form of polling results for Kenneth remaining with PPM rightly would come from the only people who count, his GTC constituents, not just anyone with an IP address in which CMR's poll doesn't count, and we'd be completely biased. Well, Allard, just because it's not specific to Georgetown Central, and I don't know how you'd poll those people except come, April the 30th. you still are missing the point, right? So the purpose of a poll is to take a sampling opinion of any given population. If you were to assume, and obviously I have sent the poll out on WhatsApp, so they're not even necessarily people who are watching the show today or who like me or watch this show, whatever, right? So putting that aside, anybody can go and vote in this poll. They can only vote once because of the IT block. But the point being, you're trying to say with such a huge margin of 81% saying, no, we do not like this decision. All of the people who've called in today, some of them voices that I don't hear in a regular, who are, have said they're GTC voters, you're still of the position, given their strong impression that we got today from those people, you're still of the position that this poll and what people have said today is somehow skewed just because this is a CMR platform. I'm rather taken aback by that conclusion, my friend.
Well, Sandra, if I can say this, I see the caller's point, but you are 100% right, because your sampling is over the island, and if you have a sample of that, it can filter into my constituency. So some people that may say, giving you a comment from West Bay, from Bon Town, well, no people in Georgetown. So I'm very, very mindful of that, to say they'll call their friend in Central and say, boy, what Kenneth did, man, they can't believe you did that. You don't deserve the support. So I recognize that. I also recognize the challenge that is before me to convince the masses that this is the right thing to do. And I'm going to have to work very, very hard on that, because I believe it's the right thing to do. Now, that may mean a lot of negativity for me, but I want the public to understand, if you trusted me for 8 years, if my actions have proven to you that I am capable of doing that, then you got to believe in me, right? I expect to be at the table of decision making with the progressives, because if they want what I've built, what my team has built, what Georgetown Central has given me by way of this commitment and this strength, they have to conform themselves to what the people want. So I believe I see it, it's so interesting. One of my committee members said, we have to be cancerous. And I said, what do you mean by that? So we have to go in and spread our belief system within the progressives and get them to see what the people are saying. Because maybe PPM have lost a little bit of understanding and openness to what the people are saying. Maybe they need to come back on CMR and talk to the people, right? And get what the people are feeling. Or come on for the first time, however you want to say it. But I've never been shy from talking directly to the people, because that's where you get the truth. What the people are saying here right now today is real stuff. They feel, they understand. They've been misled, they've been let down. So we need to be able to convince them different of that. And I believe I can do that. And I'm going to do it not only in Georgetown Central, I'm going to do it all over the Cayman Islands, because I believe the people believe in me.
All right, caller, good morning.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning to your guest. Sandra, the first thing that everyone needs to do in this country is to apologize to the people about COVID. And that goes for ministers that are in now and ministers past and present, because we now know what COVID was all about. That's the first thing. Second thing, when you have ministers, and I'm not throwing that at any of your guests, but when we have ministers throughout 20 and 30 years that have been faced with deals, a piece of land of 40 acres have been divided and there's apartments coming on it, or land can be given away. I personally know, working in government, that names have been called and land has been divided. This is how I feel about this. When you do that and you take it all for yourself, you're not working for your people, because we are the employers. They are the employees. So if you are offered something like that, you go back and you tell the people, look, John Brown from Timbuktu has offered me 2 acres of land. What should I do with it, my people? You don't take it and put it in your pocket. And I'm not throwing that at anybody there or anything like that. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying going back 20 and 25 and 30 years, it has happened. It continues to happen. And when we have those people that can continue to look up for themselves and not the people, they're greedy. They're not honest. And accountability, too much money has been wasted in government time and time and time again. When you have a minister that can take out 25 and 35 Caymanians and everybody sit shut and don't say anything about it and do not stand up for the Caymanian people, I'm sorry, that is someone I cannot say that these people are really there for our people. Let me say this about roads and angling. When he came in, there were people that he had to remove from his ministry because they were not in line with the same position that he had. But Ralston did that in such a diplomatic and respectable way. He basically said to everybody, some of you may have to change the direction that I'm taking in this ministry. Some of you may have to be removed. But I want you to know, I want to say thank you to all of you that have brought something to this table. The other thing Ralston did, I had Mrs. Martin call me from Georgetown Primary. Ralston came in West Bay. There was a lady with 4 children or 5 children. She needed some of everything because she needed food to be given to her children at school. And Ralston said, don't worry. I don't know who she is, but I'll give her 6 months. I said, I will pay for 3 months. It doesn't matter. Most of these politicians that come in, they only want you to run to their constituents. When you swear on that Bible and you have been sworn in, you are here for the people, whether they're from North Side, Eastern, and West Bay. And until all of that change, Lisa not putting her vote down for nobody. Okay? The other thing that needs to be done, if these politicians are not audited and when they do something wrong and they are not prosecuted, just like how they do it in London, which we are under, and the United States, they do not deserve a vote. You have to start with integrity and honesty. And that means that goes from all of it. I have seen 35 years of it, starting with James Minoa Bodden, my first boss, Mr. Norman Bodden, Mr. Roy Bodden, Alden McLaughlin, Truman Bodden, name them. I've worked with all of them, had the privilege of learning from all of them. Mistakes, younger ones as well. But I'm sorry, until all of them can be held accountable, so that means the Constitution needs to be changed, laws need to be changed, but until we can hold them accountable for wastage, like $8 million for people that is going to work on a school, when we have people here that don't have homes. We have people here that are losing jobs. We have people here that are being discriminated against, and you want to change the laws to protect the Black people, which we rightfully own, and our families have, our great-grandfathers and grandfathers have definitely built this country. Something is wrong. And until all of that change, no one has my vote. Thank you, Sandra. Have a great day.
Thanks very much. All right, folks, let's continue on. You know not says what actions, wasting millions on empty land, building a terminal for billionaires, stealing land from Chris Johnson. What actions have you done, Kenneth? None. Lord Jesus.
Well, I definitely haven't stolen any land for Chris Johnson, and I'll stand firm to say that I will continue to fight to make sure that the fisherman's spot is protected so it could be forever a part of our culture and our heritage to do exactly that. I'm not stealing anything from nobody. I think the person is referring to the fact that the government is compulsory acquiring, paying Mr. Johnson.
We'll see what the courts have to say about that.
Let's see what the courts say, but the government is going to try to compulsory acquire that piece of property. So to protect the fishermen from being down there, the question is, why would they not want them there? Why would they send them legal documents and take them off of the property?
I can tell you the PPM claimed that they solved this problem the last time they were in, and clearly they didn't.
Well, I'm not aware of them claiming that, but if that's what they did, they obviously didn't fix that.
Hold on, brother. I can bring up that article for you because I was just looking at it the other day when we were talking about this issue. They claimed that they were giving them some impertuity. What's it called? Hold on. Oh God. Hold on. I'm going to find it for you because they did say so. It was actually in Parliament when Mr. Joey Hugh himself, quite ironically, stood up and said that he had resolved that problem. I will certainly find that article for you. This was back, here we go, December the 11th, 2020. A fish market land now in perpetual trust for the people of the Cayman Islands. Mr. Hugh himself, let me just show you the evidence because I believe in my evidence, honey child. I don't come to the people with no nonsense. Here it is. I'll share the link. Oops, let me take that off the screen. I'll share the link with anyone who needs to see it. But there he is saying in this article, and we took it verbatim from the thing. This is a quote from him as Minister of Commerce. We all agreed that whilst we could not go down the long road of fighting for prescriptive rights, what we ended up with was a solution where the property is going to be held for the people of the Cayman Islands. One of the few conditions is that a trust that is.
I remember when he made that comment.
Yes, that there'll be no commercial activities.
So let me see if I can help give some context to that.
Okay.
Not here defending past administration because that's not my time, or I was in opposition. I wasn't a part of the government. But the understanding was that the agreement between the government and Mr. Johnson was that he would leave it in the hands of the people for perpetuity, and he would put it in a trust. But the part that they keep on forgetting in that deal was the fishermen wouldn't be able to go down there and sell fish. So yes, because there was at one point the plan from, as far as I heard, I can't confirm this, but was that he wanted to create the place to be a nice tourist area for people to go down there and swim in the bay and all that, but the fishermen had to go. But the whole point of the location from a cultural perspective is that cultural norm of our fishermen who are generational Caymanians from time going down there, selling their fish is a part of who we were and who we are. I mean, if we take that away, what else can we take away? So, if granted, that may be a solution to say that people in general terms will always have access to it, but you're taking away the fishing component. I think that that's one of the most attractive things from a tourism perspective when somebody comes off a cruise ship and come down and see part of what Cayman came from, which is an old fishing village that sold fish in the bay, and people would come out there and buy. I mean, if we lose that, what else are we going to lose? I mean, this is the things that the people want us to fight for. So nobody's stealing Mr. Johnson's land, but there's some point in time where you have to stand for your people and let the court decide. And I'm holding my position on that.
Let me continue to read in this article at the time, because it says, in response, Minister of Commerce Joey Hew confirmed that Johnson and the government had come to an agreement that would allow the fish market to remain on the property and place it in a trust for the people of the Cayman Islands in perpetuity.
Well, if Mr. Johnson is willing to agree to that today, I'm almost certain he can go back to the cabinet.
Back in 2020.
Well, that when we came in, that was not the situation. So I can't say, I don't know if the deal fell apart or what have you, but we've done everything we can. We've had our parties talk to Mr. Johnson's parties, and I'm gonna hold any more conversations because this is before the courts now, right? But we've done everything we possibly can.
Being is the PPM claimed that they resolved it back in 2020, and here we are now, going into 5 years later, and you're saying it still hasn't been resolved. But leave it there. That's for sure.
Positions could change. Mr. Johnson's position could have changed. So I don't want to only blame it on Joey here. If Joey felt that he got it in
perpetuity, if he goes back on that contract, there would be some. If they actually had it in writing, there'd be some ramifications. All right, let me see here now. Okay, let's go through some comments. So this one says, so Kenneth is okay joining a group with a lawbreaker. John has committed immigration offenses for years with no consequences. Kenneth, your actions are very questionable. Not sure why PPM all of a sudden want Kenneth and Donna. Never wanted them before. I don't trust PPM, and by extension, don't trust Kenneth now. The corruption never stops.
Please, one thing I do pride myself in is being a honest person and fighting for my people. Now, it's okay to think that my decision is not the best one. I totally get that. People will have different views, but Kenneth Bryan is not corrupt.
All right.
I would every decision I make, I try to make it with all the evidence I have before me is what is in the best interest of the people, right? Because the only thing I have is the little name that Donna Bryan gave me and Vernon McAllister Max Field gave me. And that's all I have, and that's all I give with every inch of me. So I don't like when people associate the word corrupt with me, because that's not the case.
Okay, Kenneth wants to be in that seat, not necessarily his people. After DP, then to think that he'd want to be a backbencher or opposition, his ego and pride won't allow it. Anyway, I'm trying to say less. Really fed up, too much corruption and more to come. OMG, STFU Kenneth, about if the people can wait another 4 years. People can be so easily bought. Next, what's up question? Well, he fits right in because he is for himself. Read my comment, please. Don't say my name, though, laughing out loud. How can he change PPM when he's way more duplicitous and for himself than them? Lord Jesus. That too, but he's lying through his teeth. He was the ringmaster of most of the cabinet madness. What changes has he made other than ensuring everyone get new SUVs? The Sir Kenneth Bryan Grand Cayman cruise ship pier. The PPM is so weak at the moment. They need Kenneth to strengthen their numbers. They're expecting him to carry them to success, and they will dispose of him. Once he once I think he
serve
will
the purpose.
have served his purpose. Yeah, that one was missing the word there, I think. Sandra, it appears to me that people know what's going on behind the scenes. There's special interest, powerful people behind Kenneth that we know, like Dr. Steve Tomlinson, who was in support of Kenneth financially. Now we know Don Seymour, and other special interest group, is in control of him, so he can't move. And then this one, we did that one already. All right. So I think we're somewhat caught up on the majority of WhatsApp messages. I don't think we'll ever get caught up. Let me pull our cameras back here, Kenneth. Minister Bryan, I don't think that we'll ever get caught up in all the comments because, phew, they were fast and furious.
Well, Sandra, it is 10:30. So I've been on for quite some time, but I'll say this: I want to thank everybody for their comments, their viewpoints, regardless if it's for or against. Participating in the discussion publicly is always an important process. So I appreciate that. I think people who have commented without a political twist, because there have been a lot of comments with political twist in there, and the average person who knows that I'm trying to do just the right thing and what I think is in the best interest of the country and Georgetown Central as a whole, I hope that you take the decision I've made in its context, knowing that I will not change who I am, regardless of what color I'm wearing. I'm ultimately trying my best to make sure I'm in a position to make the changes that you want. Because honestly speaking, you can see by the comments today that most people believe that if I just stayed by myself, even if that means I ended up on the back bench, that I'd get reelected. Now, if I was being selfish, that's what I would have done. But I do recognize I've grown, I've matured, I've understand politics a lot more and more experience to know that if I'm going to truly fundamentally get the changes that the people are asking for, I have to do it in an organized way. And before we forget, we got to recognize that the other two parties do have candidates running against me. The National Party has Carmen, and the CCP has Mr. Ramon. So it's not like there's many options available outright other than running as an independent without the ability to be there for you and get the things done, which is always an option. But I think this is the right thing to do to be able to make the decisions on behalf of the people of Georgetown Central and the Cayman Islands as a whole. It's definitely not from a selfish place, because I think we can recognize I'm making my own risk here for this. So if I was doing it from a selfish place, this probably wouldn't be the decision I'm making.
All right. So someone said, so to be clear, ... Kenneth will ignore the will of people and still join PPM.
Well, I don't think the comments that have been made.
To be clear.
The comments that are made here today may be a summary holistically of the Cayman Islands. I can't say that that's a poll of what Georgetown Central people itself specifically has said. I think most people recognize that I've talked to
you did
Central.
agree earlier that it would be a good sampling of the entire viewpoint of the country,
including of the country. So I wouldn't say that if you were to pick out all the comments that you had, if you had 10 people from Georgetown Central who gave me comments, I think you may have had probably about 50 comments this morning. If we were to say, okay, 10 of them came from Georgetown Central, should 10 of them be the catalyst of the decision for Georgetown Central? I can't say yes and I can't say no, but I do know that most people, when I finish speaking to them about the rationale about things, get the logic. And I do believe and I hope that people understand, regardless of the decision, it doesn't change who I am and what I'm going to do for you, regardless of what position I'm in. Because I'm still 150% committed to Georgetown Central. That doesn't change. All I'm trying to do is get more strength with a group of people so I can actually accomplish the goals I want to do for you. That's all the difference is. So I feel like I'm defending the Progressives track record, and as somebody said to me, Kenneth, stop defending the PPM, but I want them to understand the logic.
Yeah. All right. So let's do a few more questions, if you don't mind. One is in relation to why not move the fishermen where lobster pot. There's some plot next to that the government has acquired. Why not move them there?
Well, that's why not move our people and send them to Timbuktu? I don't think that's the point. I think the point is culturally.
I think is the point. And there's benefits to that in terms of adequate parking, et cetera, et cetera. that you would not have with Mr. Chris Johnson's property?
I tell you what. Why don't we do a poll? Do a poll. That says, do you think the fishermen should be moved, or do you think the government should compulsory acquire the property? And you'll see what the people say. Because I believe the sentiment I've got from my people in Cayman is that the fishermen's spot should stay exactly where it is. I mean, that's an example of exactly pushing us out and forcing us to change our norms and our habits. I can't agree with that. That's not what the people have told me. So,
all right. Okay. Well, I don't know, boy. Y'all need to go out there and do more polling. All right. What's your position on people like Larry and his lack of being arrested? We are going to be doing a protest on Saturday. We understand that the RCIPS is dragging their feet this time and approving the protest, and we will be asking them the question after this show, why? When the other ones are approved very, very quickly, we want to know why they're dragging their feet this time. But what is your position, going back to what the caller said earlier? Disrespectful people in our island. Larry is actually here on a work permit from his business partners, now a Caymanian, who got status under the 2003 status grants under the UDP administration back then.
Who gave him this? He has a status, or he's on a work permit?
He's on a work permit. Larry's on a work permit, but his Caymanian partner was a status. He has status because of the 2003 status grants from cabinet.
Okay.
That administration.
Well, just to answer to the foundation of the question, which is how do I feel about it? I feel disappointed. I feel saddened that any kind of road rage would lead to this kind of result in an assault either way. It just tells the sentiment of the general public about how frustrated we are that we don't even keep cool and keep calm in these situations. I saw some of the videos and I heard some of the verbiage in it, and it's disturbing. It talks about social pressures and using certain words that are not appropriate, that I will not repeat on here. I'm saddened that this young man was arrested. I do believe that the police will hopefully eventually respond to the practices of what transpired there. I don't know why the police arrested only the young man. Based on what I've seen and heard, I think that it was a situation where the police wasn't sure about who the aggressor was. And I'm certain that eventually, I'm hoping that the police will eventually look at all the details, all the video footage, and resolve it within the court proceedings in the appropriate way. With the fact that they may go to court, I think I should probably stop there and not say much more, because I don't want to prejudice any court proceedings as the deputy premier of the country. But I'm disappointed in that too. But it's just another example of the pressure and feel that Caymanians are under. This goes back to the riffraff situation. This goes back to the turtle meat comment. And again, this is why the people on your show constantly call in talking about the people feel like they're being taken over, and they don't feel like they're part of their own homeland, and they have a right to feel that way. That's why I'm so strong about having the right balance of immigration reform, because you don't want to seem anti-expat, but we have to have legislation and practices that protect our people. That's our first priority. That's what you're elected for. So that's what I'm committed to. So I think that's enough. I'll say enough there in respect to the arrest and the issue that happened with the young man. I feel sorry for him and his family. And I just wish it didn't happen, because this is yet another example that's going to continue to divide the country. And this is what we're trying to avoid. Further division isn't going to help us, but these types of things need to stop.
All right. The governor needs to be called out for the police action. Magdalene says us and them, and no one is listening. PPM has never said anything about the sentiments made towards us. O'Neillia said PPM are only about money for themselves and the business interests of its members, a lot like the criminal organization called the Lodge, who answered to the Grand Cayman Master in Jamaica, cannot be denied, only deflected. What a hot mess. I tell you.
Well,
all right, folks.
Sandra, before I get in trouble, I'm going to go now. It's 10:41. Again, I appreciate all your listeners and your viewers and all those who sent comments. I
Yes,
appreciate
Monique,
you being a
one
part of the
final comment
conversation.
before you go said, regardless of anyone's opinion, Honorable Bryan conducted himself like a professional. How many other leaders have been absolutely abusive when dealing with voters, co-workers, and Caymanians as a whole? So thank you, Minister, for coming on the program. Someone also shared that you are willing to at least come on and take your lick. Somebody said you got a proper ass in today, and famous Caymanian words. we're now off air, so we can say that.
I got a couple of those when I was growing up, so I know how it feels.
You know what they are.
Yeah.
One more thing though before you go, I think this one is worth maybe you pondering about. And this person said, let me just show you this one. Let me see. Got to make sure it's uploaded. But the internet looked like it's struggling a little bit today. But this person basically said that you should remember that one of the reasons why you actually got voted in, they said KB also needs to realize people voted for him back then because they seen exactly what PPM did to him, and they saw him as a representative for a forgotten people who can stand for their people against such oppressive behavior entrenched in the PPM. So that's
I still will be that person no matter what organization I'm a part of, because the progressives is never going to stop me from fighting for the people. Matter of fact, what my intention is to show all members of the progressives and the whole wider group, which I believe is still there, to fight together for our people. I want to see if I can get people to think in the positive rather than in the negative, because a lot of people didn't think that I would have gotten to this point, and I got to this point with the people, and vice versa. I want the people to believe together that we can get the group to stand up and fight for Caymanians. So I like to think of things in a positive direction rather than in the negative. And I know it's hard to do that because of the challenges that people are facing today. No doubt about that. It's hard to believe when you've been, pushed and oppressed for so long and you're not getting the issues solved. But I don't want to be sounding like a saving grace, but I can promise you Kenneth Bryan will not change in that respect. And I'll fight even harder and convince a group of people together that we have to stand for these things for our people.
All right. Colin Cunningham says he wants you to know he's listening from Manchester and to keep up the good work. He says, I'm a CMR fan and a GTC constituent. And he is studying there in Manchester. Big shout out to Kenneth.
That's my little guy, man. That's probably going to be one of the next Georgetown Central representatives. He's away at school. I'm really proud of him. Keep up the good work, young man.
Encourage him to do that for sure.
Yeah, but man can have a pilot as a representative too. You can be any person who wants to be a representative. If you believe in yourself and you believe in your people, you can be a representative.
Well, let's just say that's why we're scraping from the bottom of the barrel. You and I are going to have to agree to disagree on that one. All right. Being a pilot would be okay, but we ain't got those standards no more, honey child.
Well, I tell you what, you'll find that young man is way smarter than just a pilot.
I'm not talking about him.
He's intelligent.
This concept of anybody can do it. We've gone astray with that one. But anyway, Minister, thank you so very, very much. What can I say? You came on, you took your licks, and you're still standing. So have a good day, and we appreciate you very, very much.
You too, Sandra, and your listeners and your authors of their comments. God bless you. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
All right, we're going to round it up with just a few more comments. So Onelia says most of the PPM members and all the PPM MLAs are lodge members, so it's not only white rich people, hence the deflection. What is this one? Flight Sim, Flight Sim 101 says, Kenneth, sit down, bro. You're no Martin Luther King. Lord Jesus. D says, people are tired of Minister Bryan's spending. Is he building that ridiculous private jet terminal? I'd like to know which Caymanian told him we need that. Is he coming back on? Says D. I'm sure he'll be here. We have so many more questions, not to worry. Rory says, bro, go hang out with your buddies at Mykonos. Oh, that was a low blow with him and Frank, because Frank had to take that picture of him and post it on his Instagram. What a hot mess. Frank be trying to pretend like he's hanging out with the average person, you see? All right. Randy, oh shit, says tell Kenneth Bryan what? He's a fucking ass. Oh, you don't need him. He's a traitor. Oh my gosh. No, sir. Y'all too messy. People are tired. D, you must have said that about 5 times. Message sent and receive. Rory says should know all these politicians have real estate side hustles. No wonder the place got into a mess. I don't think they all do, but you know, okay. Miss Sue says the same thing. Boy, PPM, listen, the one takeaway today, setting aside Kenneth's decision to join the PPM, the PPM's reputation is in the gutter. I honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I knew probably 40% of the voters were like, outside of Georgetown, we don't like PPM, whatever. But the resounding response that we got today has demonstrated to me, I have learned something today, that you all do not feel that PPM has connected with the people at all for a very, very long time. And so this anti-PPM sentiment going into the election makes me concerned that anybody who thinks that the PPM is actually going to win enough seats to take a government would have to be crazy. I don't see it. I don't care who they put on a red dress on. It don't look like it's going to make a difference. Here's another one. Trust me, I read mine too. If he sits on the back bench, then how will that help Cayman? What happens when PPM does not get the majority and he ends up on the opposition? Then he'll pull at Julie and the person goes on and says, what an assing. They said, yes, honey child, he got quite the assing today. Damn. You guys came and you came hard today. I did not expect the cold hard truth to be this hard from the perspective of what you all were saying. Yes, this one is about, we voted for him because he kind of reminded us of what the PPM wasn't. Wow. Georgetown Central voters. I'm thinking of how I can poll you guys because they don't seem to believe this 80%. I believe it. And I believe that even if we were to say that's a percentage of Georgetown Central, that is still a significant number of people. This person says, Kenneth, remember this show. If and when you get in with the PPM and you wear Joey's leash, don't cry foul. Some people's backs are broad, Sandra. We don't want you to feel sad. We want you to feel enraged, Kenneth. Stop sitting on the fence. Grow some balls for once. Boy, he pisses me off, Sandra. Lord Jesus, take the wheel. Damn, y'all came hard. Strong Wilt says Kurt Tibbetts and Alden running PPM. They're running the show only for the rich people like A.L. Thompson's. Gabby says, Sandy, what have they done for Cayman? They've done nothing for Cayman. Like, let's be for real. Ms. Darlene says, different minds on election day. Well, we'll see. Kindly, please play the Cold Hard Truth song. Woo, honey child. Should we play that song to end the show today or the politician song? You know, the one that's like, oh, Mr. Politician Man, when they're playing games with us. By popular vote, let me know which song you would prefer to hear. What a heat. But Sandy, have you seen the constituents that live in Georgetown Central? Listen to me. Don't make that fool you. Them people sensible. You might have to go into Georgetown Central and do interviews on, so do you think Kenneth should run with PPM or remain independent? Here's the thing, right? When you put a mic in front of someone and you ask them to vote, I don't know how many of them gonna have the cojones to say it on camera. But I wonder if I can do a poll where I go through the list and I strategically call some of those Georgetown Central people. It's not going to be a huge sample, but I guess I could call them and see what they have to say. Are they really going to support Kenneth if he runs with PPM? I don't know. I don't know, honey child. But I think that that's a good idea, is I need to speak directly. Since y'all don't want to believe the numbers, I will have to speak directly to some of the GTC voters. But 80, like I said, 81% is nothing to sneeze at. That is an overwhelming and resounding no, honey child. As a matter of fact, it's now gone up to 82%. Y'all are still voting. Please continue to vote in the polls. Y'all are still voting. It's now 82%. Cold hard truth, politician song, Cayman national anthem, says Monique. Bumbleclot song, says Darlene. So we have more votes, I think, for the politician song. Anthony says A.L. Thompson is in bed with Dan Scott now. Thompson Consult. Arden McLean is on Dan's stage. Wow. Listen, in the world of politics, there is no such thing as loyalty. They are all over the place. Oh my God. Which one are we going to play? Rasclot, Bumbleclot, or the politician song, or the cold hard truth? I wasn't going to put the Rasclot. What is the proper name of that song again? Because I need to look it up. Somebody says, great show. Please remind the owner of, please give the owner of CMR a kaboom. Aww. The heart emoji. Thank you, honey chill. I give myself a kaboom. Thank you. Some strong numbers today. At one point, we were like over 900 people. What's the link for the poll? Hold on. Let me grab it again. Share the link. Share the link. Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, like I said, I went all out in the polls now to ensure that, here's the link again, that, nothing is foolproof. But at least we're restricting by, so if you vote from your phone, you can only vote from your phone once. We're blocking it by IP address. And final call of the day, this one says Cayman Mall Road, you should have included an extra option on that KB poll. Yes, no, and no, but I understand why he's doing it. Well, it doesn't make a difference if it's still no. It doesn't make a difference if you understand if it's still no. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning. Mm-hmm. I missed the show, but I could imagine I was doing a little travel. Mm-hmm. So I missed it. But okay. I want to just say that I wrote something yesterday and I was really thinking about what I see is going on. And it's a disgrace. And they need to stop taking us as fools, because you got to be taking us for fools. When the people voted for independent and they went so hard on independent, that's because they were sick of PPM, And I want to say that what has changed in 20 years with this, that even those that are joining, because they've been apart before, they've been pulled apart before. And, I remembered when they got in, PAC didn't have a chance. First of all, they came in with COVID, and when everybody's sleeping in bed, it's like you're cheating with your husband, right? On your husband, you got somebody, but you're going out with your husband, but in behind, you're still sleeping with this person, right? So they're going to be defending you. You might wonder, like I've heard it before, that people is defending people, but they're having a relationship with some of those that I know. I won't call them air. So then when that person is defending you, ask them, well, why you defend that person so? But because they're sleeping in bed, they got a husband, so they're not going to come out and say, well, because I'm with him too, because we're cheating. Tell me now, when we got a quiet piece of life was when the transition took with Kenneth and Juliana. I mean, they got those positions. Did you realize we heard nothing else? Everything went quiet. Everything went peaceful. It wasn't no more fighting inside there. Everything was okay.
Oh, you mean when the UPM government took over? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no,
because the
was
PPM,
peaceful.
The PPM has low key been running the government with UDM. I mean, UPM. What is everything again? UPM.
Yeah.
Because Julie is PPM. I mean, undercover business going on there.
So that's why all of a sudden, Miss Allen got the speaker. Everybody quiet out and everything was at peace. But we the people need to realize that election come. Nothing has changed. I don't care who's going in and running with them. And my name is Joyce and Seymour Green. I mean, I'm not hiding, right? So I'm talking because too much of us hide. We can't talk. We are afraid. I am not afraid. This is my country, and not because I'm stands up with Sabrina that I'm saying this because if Sabrina messed up and I didn't see what she was doing for my people, I seen in there Joyce and Louise Seymour Green, but leave her same place where she is. I've been in that office. I see what she has done. And, when they say she's a quitter, you can't quit. The problem is that they had to step down in order for some things not to be passed. And this is the next thing that our country, our island, our people need to be educated on. And if you don't understand, what you do is that you just need to make sure that...
It's been up to you for the win.
I'm one place, but you gotta realize that if you don't understand something, right, you have to ask, right? Because that's the reason why we have them there. Go and question them. If they can't look in your eye, they can't tell you, well, then, don't bother with them. But give them a fair chance, right? The reason that they had to draw together and become TCCP is because they don't want the same thing that happened to them to happen again. So they're getting people that are looking out for the benefit of the island, people that are saying, yes, this is what we want, we believe in. You will have ups and downs, because even if you marry a husband, he tells you, yeah, he wants these things.
Yes.
But then at the end of the day, and then what you do, you divorce him or you decide to live with him afterward.
Or you realize that the 20% that of the time that he gets in your nerves, you can just ignore that.
True.
Anyway.
Yes. You can deal with it. So everybody that been sleeping in bed, anything that's in the dark, it must come to light. It's just a matter of time. So I want to just say that the people need to be prepared, because this is a very crucial election that we're going through. And I missed it today because I really wanted to see this. I wanted to listen.
You can go back and listen.
I will.
That's the beauty of it.
I will.
Thank you so much, my love.
Yes,
All right.
darling, and take care.
Yes, you too,
All
Miss
right, honey.
Joyce-Ann.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, dear. Yes, that's the beauty of it. Lots of people can go back and listen. Carrie Scott said, dear TCCP and CINP supporters, please take Kenneth Bryan's move to PPM as an ominous sign. Y'all sipping too much Kool-Aid. I don't know what that means. I think he needs to listen to the 82% of people who have said that he has made a mistake today, and maybe he needs to sip on that. I got iced tea and I got hot tea over here, and I'm sipping on them both going, honey child, what a mess. Here is someone saying, Sandy, show them this, that the poll works. I tried to vote twice, and it says you've already voted in this poll. Testing to prove to the naysayers that the poll is working. Because, once they don't get the results they want to try to discredit the polls. Wow. No, sir. All right, good people. God bless Miss Joyce-Ann, says this person, such a sweetheart. I'm thankful this morning that I just had to do some menial stuff and could listen to the whole show. Kenneth Bryan got his arse beat this morning. Played the Rasclot song, my theme song, the legendary Peter Tosh. And of course, we have it right up here for you now, honey child. I still had it saved from the last time I played it, apparently. So here we go. Peter Tosh, nobody said it better than him. I tell you what, after today, we're all feeling a little Peter Tosh vibe. Everybody ready? Sing along, class. Come on in. Yes. Sing along. I don't know how old this song is, but it's like yes, Bomba Clot. Oh, Rasclot. Yes, Rasclot. I'm moving up my sliders. Oh, Bomba Clot. Oh, Bomba Clot. Oh, Rasclot. Yes, Brother Tosh, sing it. I said I came upon this land to guide and teach my fellow man. Woo! But one thing I can't overstand. Yes, Brother Brian. Love his brother man. Oh, me feeling it in my soul this morning. Oh, Bomba Clot. I'm his backup singer. Oh, Rasclot. Yes, brother. Oh, Bomba Clot. Bomba Clot. Oh, Rasclot. Oh, yeah. What a Rasclot, yes. Yes, me. Times I sit and look around and listen to the daily sound. But when I check, there's so much light, and that's the reason why the children cry. We're crying, all of us crying. Oh, Bomba Clot. Bomba Clot. Oh, Rasclot. Yes, brother, sing it. Oh, Bomba Clot. Oh, yeah. Oh, Rasclot.
the shits that we got to real.
Amen, brother. Sing it.
And if there is obstacles in the road, we got to throw them overboard.
Yes, Brother Tosh.
Oh, Bumba Cloud.
Bumba Cloud.
Oh, Rascal.
Rascal.
Oh, Bumba Cloud.
Bumba Cloud.
Oh, Rascal.
Rascal. Yes, Brother Tosh.
An evil spirit held me down.
Yes, brother.
I could not make one single sound.
Oh my gosh, don't make us silence you,
Jah
man.
told me, son, use the word.
Yes.
And now I'm as free as a bird. Oh,
Bumba Cloud. Oh, Rascal. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling it.
Oh,
Bumba Cloud. Oh, Rascal. Big shout out to Miss Carla. I see you in the house. Happy channel.
under section 3. Oh, Rascal. Bumba Cloud.
Poor Carrie, stop. But you just not getting it. Yes, ma'am, we're back up singing this morning, Mr. Richard. Bumba Cloud. Oh, Rascal. There we go. There we go. We're gonna end it with one more selection from DJ Sandy. Here we go. Y'all ready for this one? We're gonna bring it home. We're gonna bring it home. Give me 1 second now. Here we go.
This one's for all the politicians, them. Sure. Inna your face, them a smile up. Behind your back of money, them a pile up. Try to start your business and them quick for spoil up. Hey, well done, Mr. Politician Man. You done a wonderful job at tear down with country demolition, man. Sibbly bang, well done, Mr. Politician Man. You done such a great job selling out with country with your business plan. Well, you forget a round of applause for all the work you're doing. Decisions where you make will left the country in a ruins, yo. Strictly personal gain you're pursuing, so the tax rate higher than the planes where you're fluing. We gonna make you deal with the IMF, knowing on a backside, none of sugar cane left. The hotels and the beaches, the Spanish them go screeching. Me no know how you do it, but all my office say is well done, Mr. Politician Man. I must congratulate you. Done a wonderful job at tear down with country demolition, man. Skibbly bang, well done, Mr. Politician Man. You done such a great job selling out with country with your business plan. What kind of plan? Which is to keep poverty and unemployment on the rise. Corruption and not to mention the lies. Election and when the tension arise, so you buy with Kentucky, not to mention the fries. Anything to secure your vote, and then you rob the people to secure your boat. We go Goat Island where the Chinese own. The whole Jamaica is a Chinese loan. I tell you, well done, Mr. Politician Man. You done a wonderful job at tear down with country demolition, man. Sibbly bang, well done, Miss Politician Lady. You done such a great job selling out with country and you still not pay with. But still if inflation was success you would have get A+. So when me met the Where's the exchange rate buck? Cause the dollar getting weaker, and the solar light bill it would a cheaper. But a JPS you prefer keep your Ebenezer. So you Scrooge from the ghetto people, where you stop and every year you buy a better vehicle. The things you do are beat with bad, but still you manage to keep your job. So me I tell you well done, Mr. Politician man. You done a wonderful job at tear down with country demolition man. Swibbly bang, well done, Miss Politician lady. You done such a great job selling out the country. Come here like Humpty Dumpty now. Congratulate them, you know. Yeah, man, give thanks to the effort, you know.
April 30th, folks.
Yeah, man,
right
enough things are not going on, you know.
Well done.
But you them see it still, so we give thanks. Yeah, man. Gangster. Kabaka P.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.